Mic check. Sorry, everybody. Mic check. Mic check. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Sorry about the late start this morning, but I hope that everybody so far is enjoying their hump day, and I hope you get some humps in today. Wherever you are, however you may be listening, thanks for making us part of your day. It's great to be back. I missed you all terribly. Sorry for the late start this morning. Sometimes being a girl dad is not the easiest, and sometimes my daughter has a hard time getting off to school, and so we were just doing some parenting stuff today, and we didn't get much time to prep the show when I normally would. Late to school. But she's all good now. So thank you guys for your patience with that. Tuesdays, oftentimes that does happen. So appreciate you guys being patient. And for those of you who weren't patient, I hope you feel guilty now for not being patient because I was being a dad. So fuck you. Good morning, Jen.
Not you blaming her for
this one. 100% her. No, 100% her.
It was your temper tantrum.
It was my turn. I was ready to. She just I don't know. It's just hard. Like, it's just a different world for girls, and she gets so frustrated.
Really?
Yeah, she just gets so frustrated when her hair is not right, and I don't know if I'm great at trying to walk her through those moments. But I learned how to do a new hairstyle today, so that was cool.
So what was the hairstyle today?
I don't know. She needed me to like pull her hair up. And then like underneath, because she wanted her hair, parts of her hair to like stay behind her ears, but it pops out when she's running. So I had to do like a tight pony underneath. And then so it was like layered. And then she needed 2 strands down. So I learned a new thing today.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm not trying to preach to you guys. I'm sorry. I just it was a realization for me. It's just like watching her and like she's sad and she's like I had really elevated emotions about like what she looked like, and then trying to make sure she knows that that's not the important part. But she didn't give a fuck what I had to say because she's my kid and she learns things all on her own, and she doesn't listen to others. It was a rough morning. Did I say it was Tuesday? I'm sorry.
I don't know. I'm exhausted. I don't know.
Tuesday. Yeah, I did say Tuesday. Tuesdays, I have my daughter on Tuesdays, and then I drop her off school Wednesday morning. So like the day after Tuesday is what I was saying. So there you go.
Yeah. No, I'm not good with the hair stuff either.
You're not?
That's not my thing. I can't do hair. I mean, I'm pretty plain in general. So
that's not what everybody said with your date night reveals. I got in so much trouble last time I commented on your date night attire. I can't ever do that again.
Oh, well, I mean, I mean, black is, that's all. I gravitate to black clothes. It's like my personality, dark and.
Now, you were dragging ass this morning. You said it was a really late night last night. I didn't. I was busy, so I didn't ask any questions. Sounds like you might have had a good night last night. You said way after midnight you went to sleep.
Well, just because I'm like a vampire, I don't sleep well. But
like a vampire, were you also biting somebody?
No, but I mean, I'm not going to rule out that's something that could happen in the future. So.
All right. I don't feel confident. I don't feel confident venturing down that road.
Well, I mean, you asked.
Who did you have a visitor last night?
No, but
what about where's Paragraph McGee? Is he around?
No, I had to let him loose, let him free, so he can go find his forever home somewhere else.
Long answer, Jerry is gone. Was his name Jerry? Can we call him Jerry?
No. His name was.
Don't say his name. Don't say his name.
I'll say his initial.
Okay, thank you. But
T initial.
he's done for over communicating. Is that what it was? He was the one. He said what? Like, you're my favorite TikTok girl or something like, or not TikTok.
No, I don't
Tinder
tell.
girl.
I don't say Tinder. Yeah, he said.
And he said girl.
Yeah, girl. You know what? To be honest, I know a lot of people get bothered by that. But hearing like if someone calls me ma'am or it feels weird to me. I can't explain why. It just does.
All right.
So I don't mind. Girl doesn't bother me. I know some people it does bother, but it doesn't.
I'm surprised by that. Do you prefer madam?
No. I mean, if they're paying me for other things, then yes, it's required.
Anybody offering to pay you?
I mean, I haven't put it out there yet, but I'm sure someone would.
Okay. Well, so tell what happened with the novelist.
Well, I mean, he didn't do well with my my sarcasm. Like he got all in his feelings after.
You texted, "Shut up, bitch."
No, I don't. I usually I wait for that till later on. I don't start with that in the first month or so. So, but yeah, no. After I sent the meme, I mean, he sent me after that. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 paragraphs.
Who did you match with, Brie Zaza?
No, I know her writer's fish. She writes weird, so no, it wasn't her. But so I had to unmatch him and let him go.
Okay. Did he say anything after you unmatched?
No, you can't say anything after I'm unmatched. So.
Oh, bro Zaza. That's really good.
But I did screenshot them so that I can add them.
Get
to
them out. Let's see the screenshots. Jennifer.
I don't know.
You can block out the name. We deserve it. Everybody's very invested in this.
What
Chat, you guys want? We can delay the political talk for a second if you guys want to see Jen's DMs. We could do that.
I mean, I think there would have to be, and it have to be made worth my while. I think we have to do a little bit better on the gift goal or something today.
You got a bar. All right.
I mean, you guys have been waiting a long time to actually hit the goal, and to be honest, I'm a little disappointed. So, so I mean, if we go over the gift goal by what, $100? So if we do
that's what we're doing. All right.
If we do $450 today, I'll share the screenshots.
Let's see my DMs. Listen, you would be really there's nothing dramatic in my DMs. There's nothing. I'm just a big softie. You don't want to see my DMs. There's nothing.
Oh, I thought they meant our DMs.
Oh, our DMs are just Jen telling me like "fuck you" most of the time,
and calling out what you're doing in the house when I'm not there.
Yeah, that's mostly what it is.
So, I mean,
but by the way, if you've ever sent weird DMs, I guess on TikTok, Jen has seen them anyways. So if you've ever sent me a weird DM, Jen has them stored someplace.
Exactly. I screenshot everything and put them in the categorize them. So.
No, Timmy, I don't want anything exciting in my DMs. You have all seen what happens to me, how uncomfortable I get with that stuff. So no, thank you. But I appreciate the offer.
Yeah. Well, I see Travis on YouTube. Travis, I bet you're very pro-capitalism. So we're just capitalizing. Capitalism.
Yeah. What are you complaining about? If Jen wants to sell her DMs, why can't she sell her DMs? I have a right to a women's DMs. Yeah, probably.
So, but yeah, I guess if we hit 450 for the goal today, I'll share the DMs. Right. You guys might want to get your readers out because, like I said, there's 9 of them, nine paragraphs.
Jesus.
So.
Well, I want to see. I haven't even seen them.
No, you haven't seen
devastating.
them.
All right. So, well, do your thing, then we'll get started.
Yep. All right. So, like I mentioned, we've got a gift goal. Do you want to add a little like blurb or something like that to the donation thing so people?
I don't know how to do that.
You just go into where where you change the donation number. You just add it there.
No, we'll do it on the we'll do it on the honor system.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Anyways, so yeah, we got the gift goal. So if we hit 450 today, I'll share the DMs from the paragraph guy. So Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all of that go towards knocking out the gift goal. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. You can use your Amazon Prime sub on Twitch, and we've got a bunch of different memberships on YouTube. We have TikTok is being a pain in the ass.
Yeah, we're done. It sounds like we're done with TikTok forever. Sounds like they have no more use for us.
The main's banned with it gave us some really odd reasons that didn't make sense, but whatever. And then the backup account doesn't necessarily want, it's saying that it's at risk for a multiple account thing, but the other account is gone. So, but whatever.
It sounds like we're a national security risk from what they're saying. Like they're very afraid of our ability to incite a riot, I guess.
Yeah, posing a risk to public safety. So
yeah,
conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so I'm so tired today. Subscribe. You can join us for members only events if you're a paid member or subscriber, depending on where you're watching. If you guys disagree with her TV, you can come up and talk. How you do that is you send me a message on Discord. My Discord username is the same as the Venmo. So Jen with 2 N's, Deb with 2 B's, the number 1. Check out the link tree in the bio or on most social media platforms. We got merch, Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify.
I like Spotify. I like that.
Spotify. I hate flies. Gross me out.
Well, I meant like we're so fly.
Yeah, no, I'm just a side note. Bugs. The bug fly. It grosses me out. It gross anyway.
All right.
But what do you call a 7 with the flu?
I don't know.
A 6-7.
Yeah, the older millennial can just like threaten to kill people and be racist, and they just keep him up on TikTok. But if I have the audacity to speak ill of Israel, then it's problematic. Illusion said, so now you can launch conspiracy theories unthrottled. That's correct. Ack, thank you for starting the DM fund. Appreciate that. Just a reminder, guys, if you want to see Jen's DMs, she's saying you have to pay for it. But let's get started with our favorite pollster, or my favorite pollster, Harry Enton, on Donald Trump's current polling for inflation and the economy.
Yeah, it is the number one issue. The number one issue. It's the number one financial issue. It's the number one issue folks saying it's facing their families right now. And Donald John Trump is in the worst position he has ever been on inflation. And more than that, these are the worst numbers I've ever seen for any president. I mean, just look at this. Look at this. According to Ipsos, look at this net approval rating on inflation. We got the latest poll out. He's 49 points underwater.
Nice.
That means that 49% more of the public disapprove than approve of the job he's doing. I went back. You remember Joe Biden? Inflation absolutely crushed his presidency. But at his worst, according to Ipsos, he was just 43 points underwater. So Trump is lower now on inflation than Joe Biden ever was, according to Ipsos.
And there's a reason for that, by the way. Idiots think that Joe Biden caused inflation, and people were frustrated with inflation. But like dumb people thought that was just like Joe Biden. Everybody knows that our current inflation is just Donald Trump. Just really, really fucking bad policy with tariffs and now a war. And you can literally lay all of the inflation at Donald Trump's feet. You can track it directly from his policy to the numbers.
I will note that the inflation rate right now is
Woke
only about
left
a
numbers.
third as it was back in June of 2022. Yet Trump's numbers are significantly worse than Biden's ever were.
Even though inflation was like at 9% this month, they still think Trump is doing a worse job on it than Biden ever was.
Correct.
That is staggering. Okay, so when you think of
one of them
inflation,
seems to be trying to get it down, and the other one seemed to be raising it while telling you that it was lower than it really is. You just can't get that far. There's idiots out there. There's people out there who still believe that Donald Trump is a sane person. But there's less and less of those people.
The one that comes to mind is Jimmy Carter. That was when inflation was really stratospheric. So how does Trump compare to Carter on those numbers?
Yeah, these are really stunning numbers right here. But what about James Earl Carter, right? You think of inflation, as Johnny B was talking about. You think about inflation seeking presidencies. You think of Jimmy Carter. But just look here. Okay.
That's right. I forgot. Hunter Biden's laptop caused inflation. That's my bad. Yeah, that's correct.
If we look right now we're talking about net approvals on inflation, this number should actually be 46%, minus 46. And if you look at this, though, even if I raise it a little bit and I correct my error right here live on air, we're talking about minus 46 points versus minus 49 points. Donald Trump is in worse position on inflation that Jimmy Carter was, when, of course, Carter then got blown out by Ronald Reagan back in 1980.
So where do Americans think this is headed?
And then we got trickle-down economics. Hooray. Let's hope we course correct in the right direction this time.
To the cost of living.
Yeah, okay, so you see these bad numbers, and take a look here. Look at this. On cost of living, country is on the wrong track or right track. Look at this. Among independents, 75%. 75% say the wrong track, just 9% say the right track. Look among Republicans. The plurality of Republicans say that the country is on the wrong track when it comes to the cost of living.
And you can blame Republicans for that. When you control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, can't really blame that on anybody else.
Versus just 39%, 45 versus 39. Donald Trump has lost
You resent when he says 1980. For some of you, that doesn't seem that far away.
Every single part of this electorate. And when you take his name out of the equation, you see even the plurality of Republicans say that the country is on the wrong track when it comes to.
I don't know.
That's right, Rick. This is fake news.
They both are stunning.
Sure.
One is that
nobody ever disagrees with Donald Trump. This is fake.
Republicans think the country's on the wrong track economically.
Unbelievable.
And then independent 75-9 is just a mind-blowing.
Yeah. David, welcome. Good job. Good to have MAGA finally rolling in.
I'm here to not pay attention to anything that's said. Can we talk about Minnesota? Can we talk about Ilhan Omar being worth $30 million?
David, Google that real quick, would you? But thanks for being here and being stupid. Appreciate you.
You just never see numbers like that.
All right, so what do the prediction markets say on an issue that you and I care deeply about?
Yeah.
Beef prices.
Beef prices. We're heading into summer. Just take a look here. Chance that April 2026 versus 2025, the beef prices are 15% higher. According to the Kalshi prediction market, 75% people are feeling the pain across different issues, including beef prices, as well as at the gas tank.
All right, Harold Litton, thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend.
What are the poly market odds on Trump arresting King Charles? I don't know. There's probably like a bet on that. Were you the one that said there was no real fraud going on in Minnesota? I do believe you said that. You were so sure. No, you're fucking stupid, dude. I covered that story 9 months before Nick Shirley did.
I just come in here and I say things. I don't really want to address any of this stuff. So I'm just going to come in and say that I'm sure that was you.
You can go back and watch my shows. I covered the fraud in Minnesota long before Nick Shirley. But I didn't blame it all on immigrants. And that's when you guys heard about it. You only hear about shit when you can blame it on immigrants. But no, that wasn't me. Good try, though. I said that the fraud in Minnesota wasn't real. No, I've never said that. Oh, I remember you. Oh, yeah, I remember you. You were the one that while we were saying it was real, kept saying that. I forgot you. Good to see you again, pal. Let's talk about the DNC because we still don't have a postmortem from the 2024 election. This is DNC Chair Ken Martin on with John Favreau from Pod Save America. And whatever your feelings might be on the DNC, it would be super cool if they would be honest with us, but they're just doubling down. Now, we're not going to tell you shit. We're going to tell you what we want to tell you and keep you in the dark.
I want to start with the 2024 autopsy, which you call an after-action review. When you won the chairmanship in February of 25, you criticized the DNC's refusal to release their 2016 autopsy as exactly what not to do. You said, quote, was there any utility in doing that? And then promised your 2024 autopsy would be different. Your exact quote was, of course it will be released. Why did you change your mind on that?
Well, look, I mean, what I said all along, even when I ran for this position.
Extra 4, starting with economic crisis today. Kick ass. Thank you.
Is that we were going to focus on the things that will help us win the upcoming election, right? Making sure that we learn the right lessons that could help inform our victories. And that's what we've done.
How are we supposed to know the right lessons if you won't tell us what the right lessons are? Just out of curiosity. The DNC sucks so fucking bad. They suck so bad. And they're not that different from the RNC. Like the main difference is the RNC like wants to be led around. Like they want to be cucks. They want to just be like spoon fed their talking points so they don't have to think for themselves. But there's at least like a segment, those of us that are watching here, those that engage in this every day, we would like to see like your actual internal documents that show what you think happened in the 2024 election. There's stuff we know, but specifically we'd like to know the impact on the support for Israel. I'd like to know how bad that hurt us.
We said this when we sent out the press release back in November saying we weren't going to release the report. We were going to actually keep our focus on those lessons, and we released those lessons. We continue to do that. So it's not completely accurate to say that we didn't release that. Where we're keeping our focus is on the lessons that can actually help us win.
On this show in August, you told me this about releasing the review, quote, "We have to do it to give people who invested so much time, energy, and money a sense of what happened and why we lost." Especially why we lost. So what changed between August and December? I understand there are lessons, but those are not the full report. Why not release the full report? What's in the report that you wouldn't want the public?
Yeah, we know what's in the report that you don't want to publish. We know. Say it, please. Is the DNC still just owned by AIPAC? Is that what we're finding out today?
Yeah, there's no smoking gun in the report. And I know that's what everyone's so eager to learn. The smoking gun. Guess what, John?
But if there's no smoking gun, why wouldn't you just release it then?
Because we want to keep the focus on the lessons. Because what ends up happening here is that people, of course, want to weaponize the report in a way to look backwards, to point fingers, place blame in a way that actually doesn't keep us focused on the upcoming election.
So? Yeah, you should find out who fucked it up, place blame on them, and don't put them in leadership positions anymore. This is so bad. Reminds me like when the cult that I grew up in, when they got caught having like trillions of dollars in investments, they were asked, like, why didn't you tell your membership that you had this much money? And they're like, well, if we told them, they would stop giving us money. We don't want to tell you guys because then you'll realize we did bad things and you won't listen to our propaganda. This is why the DNC fucking sucks. Here's the truth about, like, there's been other postmortems. Harris was hurt by a couple of things. Number one, she had very limited time to, like, distinguish herself and identify and define herself, like, as a candidate that wasn't just Joe Biden. So she inherits all of Joe Biden's baggage, one, which would have happened anyways, because she was the vice president, but then she didn't really have any time to differentiate or create distance there. Voters, like the biggest issues were price, economy, immigration, and frankly, like just regular voters were looking at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and saying, you guys were in office, so this must be your fault. That's another reason. She didn't recapture parts of the Democratic coalition that Biden lost. She struggled to bring back black voters, Latino voters, young voters, less frequent voters, obviously those who were in the Free Palestine crowd. And then I don't know if this is, we'll see. I don't know how accurate this is. It's probably accurate, but there was a lot of leaning on like anti-Trump rhetoric. And some of that's true and some of that needs to happen. But it did at times seem like I didn't disagree with her, but where was the plan forward? Same thing that we kind of criticize Trump for now and Republicans for now. You're all looking backwards. You're all still blaming Joe Biden. We're going to have Pete Hegseth later just consistently blaming Joe Biden. What are you going to do? Do you have any plan to do something that works for people? And I don't think that the Harris campaign did a good job with that.
But instead, the navel gazing of focusing backwards actually takes...
One other thing. Focusing backwards allows you to apologize to some people and say we fucked up and look at groups of people that you ignored and say, you know what? This caused a problem for us. We fucked up. We're sorry. Let's bring you into the fold and let's make sure that like all the factions of the left are heard here. I don't think they want to apologize. I don't think they want to address Israel. I think they think that this is just going to go away. And frankly, it's not. And especially if you want to re-engage young voters. If you want to re-engage people under 35, you're going to have to say no more AIPAC money. You're going to have to say no more PAC money. Those would be massive. You want to see the young voting base show up? Talk about ending money in politics.
Us backwards. We're 189 days from this election, John. What we don't need to be focused on is actually relitigating 2024. What we need to do is learn the lessons of 24 and the years preceding that can help us win this upcoming election. I get why people are obsessed with it, because there's various groups and organizations and people who think there's some sort of smoking gun in there. Guess what, John? In the third closest presidential election in the last 100 years, everything mattered. There's nothing that didn't impact that.
This is nonsense. Why is this guy the DNC chair? What is he talking about? Everything matters, so we're not going to tell you. Oh, okay.
Election.
Why did you spend the money going to 50 states, doing all these interviews, doing all this stuff, and doing this report in the first place, if you weren't going to release the full results of it? Like, why? I don't get why just you and some of the senior...
No smoking gun, but likely a smoking gauze in hospital. Yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
Your DNC people get to see it, but not most of the DNC members who are, state party chairs. I mean, more than a dozen DNC members told NBC just the other week they want it released, including Congresswoman Delia Ramirez and North Carolina Democratic Party Chair Anderson Clayton. And Anderson said, quote, "Genuinely, what did you all find that we did not?"
Yeah, that's such a good point, Ashley. Said you have a policy that you can present that's better than the policy that's being presented by the opposing party, not just orange man bad. It's so lazy. Talked about that yesterday when we talked about healthcare and AOC, and there's a couple people now consistently talking about healthcare and getting money out of politics. That is a way forward. Everybody knows Trump's a fucking idiot at this point. And you're just one of those people who's like, yeah, he's a fucking idiot, but I voted for him and I'd vote for him again because fuck the Dems. Or you're like, he's a fucking idiot. Those are like the two opinions on Trump now. No, there's virtually nobody left. It's like he's doing a really good job. He's very smart. He seems to have a good grasp on how to fix things. It's just like he's an idiot, and I'll still vote for him, or he's an idiot. And we could still have David Hogg instead of this chode. Yeah, I kind of like what David Hogg is doing instead. I like that he's decided that because nobody was going to listen to him, that he's just going to have a pack. And he's going to go and he's going to primary shitty Democrats. I think that his voice is better used in that way, and I think his influence is better used that way. Okay, I just wanted to show this. I didn't really know where to put this in, but this isn't going to work. Again, Republicans don't have a plan, and that you're going to see that today. We're going to cover a lot of congressional testimony, not only for Pete Hegseth, but Linda McMahon, Doug Burgum. Who else? Lee Zeldin. There is no plan. It is just consistently pointing at Dems and saying bad. But I wanted to show this clip from Fox News. This is House Intelligence Chair Rick Crawford. I don't know why they're mad at Bernie Sanders right now, but listen to the very specific and very real attack on Bernie Sanders now. Imagine being afraid of Bernie Sanders.
Well, Senator Sanders, America Last Senator Sanders is a guy that has a history of embracing communism, visiting.
Where did Bernie Sanders embrace communism? Aaron, if you want to come up here and talk to me, I'm happy to tell you what my plan would be. Or you could stick around. But for the record, my plan would be single-payer healthcare and ending Citizens United. And then I would make a more progressive tax system. And that would fix the middle class. It really wouldn't hurt innovation. It's not going to hurt rich people. I would have a very progressive platform if I was in charge of the DNC.
Soviet Union. I say the Soviet Union because it was pre-Russia. It was back during the Cold War when Americans typically didn't go to the...
So hold on. Losing respect for you, you're pushing your own bias propaganda now. Maybe research all the bills that have been introduced. Like what? Give me an example, Eve, of a bill that's been introduced. I don't care, by the way, if a bill has been introduced. I care if it gets done. But what are we missing here? What bills? What's the biased propaganda? And whose propaganda am I pushing here? It's obviously not the Republicans. I'm shitting on Democrats as we speak. What's this biased propaganda? I don't want to run for office, Aaron. Thanks. The bill to end Citizens United? Yeah. Is it going to pass? No. Were you here yesterday, Eve, when I covered that there was a Jayapal last year put forward legislation for Bernie Sanders Medicare for All? I understand that there are good people, good Democrats that are pushing good legislation. They're in the minority. That's why I'm shitting on Democrats right now. No, it's not just Republicans. Where's the bill to end Citizens United? Have they voted on that? I don't even understand what the criticism is here. I'm advocating for ending Citizens United. I don't even understand this. It was introduced by Summer Lee and Adam Schiff in September. Did we get a vote on it? I don't even know if we got a vote on it. Let's see. Let me go to her website. Bill, is it? I don't know if I can see a vote on it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it's a joint resolution proposing amendment to the Constitution stating relating to the authority of Congress in the United States to regulate contributions. Yeah, I don't understand your criticism here, Eve. You act like Dems are to blame. Yeah, I think you're being soft. Honestly, I do. I think it's really weird that you're saying that. What like is it passed? No. Why isn't it passed? Because Democrats don't have control. Why don't Democrats have control? Because they didn't do it, things like ending Citizens United and pushing single-payer healthcare. What I'm advocating for is putting up candidates from the DNC who openly push for this. How many times, before the last 3 months, how much have you heard anybody talking about ending Citizens United? It's been like Bernie, AOC, Elizabeth Warren. There's been like a handful of them. What do you want me to do, Eve? They're the only ones pushing to end corruption. First of all, that's not true. Other people on the right have done it too. But what do you want me to do? You want me to cheerlead the Democrats for trying? No, get rid of all the shitty people who run and never talk about that. Take all the shitty people who are taking money from health insurance companies. Take all the shitty people who are taking PAC money. Get rid of Hakeem Jeffries. Get rid of Chuck Schumer. I'm on your side here. I don't understand this criticism here. That I would say respectfully, Eve, that like this is the problem with the DNC. Is that people think that like a good effort matters. No, it doesn't. If you don't get shit done, you don't get shit done. I'm not going to sit here and cheerlead. Good try. Get it done. When they get it done, we'll talk about it. But that's why I brought up David Hogg, like leaving the DNC and creating his own PAC and pushing progressives. For the record, all of these, like almost all of these special elections, anytime there was a progressive candidate, the progressive candidate won against the establishment candidate. And that's not because of the DNC. The DNC was fighting against the progressive candidate for the establishment candidate. The DNC is your enemy, not me. Okay, the Republicans are obstructionists, not Dems. Okay, Hakeem Jeffries definitely doesn't stand in the way of progress. Chuck Schumer definitely doesn't stand in the way of progress. When I have to see Chuck Schumer talking about how important it fucking is to have Israel as our best friend, and when I see them taking AIPAC money, yeah, for sure, they don't stand in the way. They've just never supported a bill like that. They've never pushed for a bill like that. The DNC never makes that part of their party platform. Kamala Harris never made that part of her party platform. Joe Biden didn't make that part of their platform. But they're not obstructing, right? No. It's only the Republicans. This is the problem with the two-party system and the way that we operate. Criticize your fucking party. I say this if I say this about Republicans, you agree with me, Eve. Like if I tell the Republicans, stop sucking Trump's dick, stop cheerleading it just to cheerlead, you'd be like, yeah, do it. But if I say it to you, stop cheerleading mediocrity, you're like, that's not fair. The Republicans are actually the bad ones. No, who fucking cares? Like if it doesn't get done, anybody who doesn't support it is obstructing. Did the bill pass? No. Did all the Democrats vote for it? No. Did you ever hear Hakeem Jeffries talk about it? Did you ever hear Chuck Schumer talk about it? No. Did Kamala Harris talk about it? No. Did Biden talk about it? No. So they're obstructing too. It's silly. It's like we don't have to only criticize Republicans. Good point, Carrie Barr. This is why we need ranked choice voting. Exactly why we need ranked choice voting. But that's silly.
Soviet Union, but that was a vacation destination for him. He embraces Chinese communism, and all I can say is
Sorry, this is back to Bernie.
Union because it was pre Russia. It was back during the Cold War when Americans typically didn't go to the Soviet Union, but that was a vacation destination for him. He embraces Chinese communism. And
Chinese aren't communist.
all I can say is if it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. Senator Sanders is a...
This is a race car. I don't even know. This is a democratic socialist who is not a communist, who went to the USSR, which wasn't communist, who has tried to work with China, who also isn't communist. And he's like, if this democratic socialist supports or tries to work with people who also aren't communist, then they must all be communist.
Communist. How he ever got elected is beyond me, and he
got elected because he fights for the people and he doesn't take money.
A threat to national security.
Well, you're on intelligence. I wanted to ask you about...
That's the incoherency we're up against. And look, if we just held our own side accountable and pushed them to do good things, we wouldn't even have to worry about the Republicans. We didn't spend all day just like trying to help them out. Ryan said for the win. Oh, Ryan. We're going to get to Pete Hegseth, but thank you, Ryan, for that. Appreciate that. I think I got all those. Let me check over here. We good, Eve? Did you stick around? I hope that makes sense. I'm not trying to pick on you, but I do think it's silly to play with kid gloves for the DNC. They've done a pretty bad job. All right, moving on here. Yesterday during the live, the story broke that the FBI had secured an indictment, or I guess the Attorney General had secured an indictment against James Comey. We didn't have the details then, but now we've got it. Here's what I want to know. So this was like 7 months ago. James Comey took a picture of some rocks or seashells. It's possible that he put those seashells there himself. None of that is a fucking crime. None of it. I have no idea what this crime is, but it's been 6 months. So where are we going from here, Cash?
As you heard from the Attorney General and the U.S. Attorney, former FBI Director James Comey has now been indicted for 2 felony counts. While many of you may read this indictment and view this matter as a simple investigation, it is the farthest thing from that.
This is a very serious investigation, guys. This is very, very serious that James Comey took a picture of 8647.
Every single investigation this FBI and our partners at the Department of Justice undertake, especially those that involve the threats to harm or hurt or even kill individuals, whether they hold public office or civilians in our country, are met with the same measure of investigative prowess and tools and personnel in partnership with the Department of Justice as anyone else.
He met with the Secret Service the next day. He deleted the post, said I didn't mean it that way, and he met with the Secret Service the next day. I don't even think we need to say this isn't a crime. Everybody agrees this isn't a crime. Troy Nehls today, Texas Troy Nehls was like, this is ridiculous. This is so stupid. You all know this isn't a crime. The only reason Kash Patel is doing this is because his job is on the line. And he has to do whatever Donald Trump says now because he knows that if he fucks up one more time, he's going to lose his job. So now the Justice Department is just like wasting their time with these types of investigations.
As the U.S. Attorney indicated, James Comey will be afforded every matter of due process under the United States Constitution. And as the Attorney General indicated, this has been a case that's been investigated over the past 9, 10, 11 months.
What's being investigated? What is being investigated here? How long should an investigation take of somebody snapping a picture and posting it on Instagram?
These cases take time. Our investigators work methodically. They are career agents, career prosecutors.
Keep in mind, they already tried to indict him on this once. They tried and failed. Phoenix says, Cash doesn't want to lose his job. He realized he couldn't arrest people for the 2020 stolen election, so he's trying to get in Trump's good graces. Here's what I actually think they're trying to do. I think they're trying to get access to James Comey's phone. I think they're trying to get access to his emails and his phone so they can try and work backwards and prove the 2020 election was stolen. I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing, and they're going to reference it here too.
To work these matters, they call the balls and strikes in the field as they see fit pursuant to the facts of the case and the law. They took that information
Curious what the grand jury heard? I'll show you. I'll show you the indictment here in a second.
And made a presentment to a grand jury, a jury of peers in the district in which the alleged crime took place. And that grand jury spoke, and that grand jury returned a 2-count indictment against James Comey.
Yeah. Here's Todd Blanche. What could you give us an idea, Todd, of the evidence that you have? Could you let us know how we returned this? Like what you guys are relying on, which is, it's crazy that you can't tell us that. I don't know why it needs to be some big secret.
Why, Director Patel, maybe you said that it's a complicated thing. A lot of people might think it's an easy case. Why did it take so long? I know that you guys
chose... The seashells might be here illegally. They're taking American seashells jobs. He was trafficking seashells. I like that. That makes more sense than what they're saying.
To go with this now, but to the layman just looking at this case, or layperson looking at the case, it was an Instagram post. He apologized. Why did it take so long?
Well, I'm not going to get into the details of the investigation itself, but a lot of these cases...
Oh, shit, I missed these. Sorry. Lisa said, share the DMs, Jen. Thank you for the $50. W, Lisa, in the chat. And W, Shannon, as well, for the $50, saying, let's see those DMs. Sorry, I missed those. Amber said, well played, RTP. Reschedule last minute for 10:30 so you can be early instead of late. I missed all those. Sorry. Back to Todd Blanche explaining this.
Why did it take so long?
Well, I'm not going to get into the details of the investigation itself, but a lot of these cases...
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you anything. Why would you tell us?
You could look at when the threats were made and when charges are brought. They're not easy cases. And so we have to... There's a communication that's sent in allegedly in this case.
And don't forget the grand jury is majority Democrats. Uh-oh, somebody doesn't know what a grand jury... You don't know who was on that grand jury. You have no idea who was on that grand jury. You just made that up. We don't know the political makeup of the grand jury.
And so that means that we have to look at devices. Mr. Comey is a lawyer. He has lawyers. So to the extent that we're looking at materials that are potentially privileged, we have to get a wall, set up a wall and let totally independent lawyers look at those. And so that doesn't happen overnight or quickly. And
what do we think? There's like messages on the back end, like, do you see what I posted? Hopefully somebody takes the initiative. Like this isn't a threat. Because our Justice Department is announcing an investigation into somebody writing out 4 numbers with seashells last year. This is a big announcement.
And the statute of limitations of this is 5 years. We brought it in under 1 year. So that's really where we're at.
It's clear that you don't want to talk specifics today. But to the American public, can you at least give us a sense of whether you have hard evidence or evidence that shows that Mr. Comey intended for President Trump to be harmed?
We cannot. You are not allowed to threaten the President of the United States of America. That's
true, but he didn't.
It's not my decision. That's Congress's decision in a statute that they passed that we charge multiple times a year. And so whether there is a defense, as you just described, maybe there is, but the government will have evidence. I am not going to talk about the evidence that we have. That's unfair to him. It's unfair to the prosecutors, but it's enough to say that the grand jury returned.
Okay, you can't say that to the president. We prosecute this all the time. It's not unusual. Here's Todd Blanche on CBS Mornings being asked about that.
Let's do a compare and contrast, Mr. Blanche. In 2022, someone well known in right-wing circles, Jack Posobiec, posted on X 8646. He did not take it down. He did not apologize. Mr. Comey has done both of those things. The Biden Justice Department never prosecuted him. By the standard of that grand jury...
5-year statute of limitations, so we're still inside that 5-year statute of limitations. Obviously, they're going to prosecute Jack Posobiec, right?
Jack Posobiec should face charges as well. Will the Justice Department pursue that case? Because they sound very similar.
They sound similar because they're exactly the same. Shells naturally form numbers all the time. So that's actually kind of funny. No, I think somebody obviously did 8647 on purpose, and maybe it was James Comey. But even if James Comey did that, it's still not a crime, and it's still not a threat. Are you really here?
Yeah, we got to take this seriously. Those seashells are harmful.
That's just completely not true. That's not how a grand jury does its work. They don't just look at a single image and then say, okay, yes, we'll indict, or okay, no, we won't indict. They do an investigation. This conduct took place in May of last year, May 15th. It has been almost a year. I assure you, the FBI, the Secret Service, and the U.S. Attorney's Office have not been sitting around doing nothing. They have been investigating. I have no...
What though? What are they investigating? An Instagram post? How long does that take?
No idea whether there was an investigation into the other times that post has been made and whether that investigation yielded different results. This investigation that we undertook resulted in a 2-count indictment. So you cannot compare, well, what happened last time, what happened this time. Every investigation is different. You know that. The American people know that. A lot of factors go into whether somebody should or should not be charged. The mere fact that there's a similar photo posted or similar statement made, that's true. Every day there's comments made about President Trump, threats made against President Trump. Every one of those.
Look, and it's not even like 86 is used generically. It could be used as a threat. It absolutely could be used as a threat. I don't want to pretend that like you couldn't threaten somebody with that, but you have to prove that it's a threat. How are they even going to do this? How would they even prove intent here? No, this is such a waste of resources.
Those are not indicted. It depends on the facts of every case.
Mr. Blank.
All right. This is for more. Somebody said YouTubers. We shouldn't listen to YouTubers. On with Boris Sanchez was National Security Attorney Bradley Moss, who actually previously has worked with Todd Blanche, respected Todd Blanche as a lawyer. So this isn't somebody who's just an I hate Todd Blanche guy. If you don't want to listen to a YouTuber, here is a national security attorney. You can maybe listen to them.
Bradley Moss. Bradley, thanks for being with us. What is your reaction to this news? James Comey indicted for a second time.
If at first you don't succeed, try again, Donald. Eventually you'll get him. Look, we're waiting to hear, as Caitlin just noted, where this was even brought and what the charges are. 2 of the likely angles that she mentioned there, if they were to try that again, whether it's the perjury issue that was tried in the Eastern District of Virginia, or if it's that photo with the 8647, if they try to bring up some kind of threat against the president, prosecution along those lines, those would be a joke. They're, the pretrial motions write themselves. A third-year law student can get those tossed, let alone the top team he'll have defending him. Well, we don't
electric tap. They're prosecuting a dead man, apparently.
No, and what will be interesting to see is this the first shot coming out of South Florida, where we know there's this ongoing attempt by Trump allies in the Justice Department to try to bring some sort of grand conspiracy charge dating all the way back to 2016. And
no, that's the key. Like, this is all about trying to prove the election was stolen. So they're just making shit up, trying to get any way that they can get into these people's phones. Which they've actually done. They've gotten the amount of indictments they've gotten, discovery they've gotten. They still can't prove this grand conspiracy. The amount of people in our Justice Department that have quit and who have been fired for refusing to go down this route, and now we're just left with sycophants, just dumbass sycophants.
Crossfire Hurricane and the intelligence community assessment of 2017. They are finally trying to bring that case. It'll be fascinating to see if they.
Giants getting blown out last night, so you switched to a White Sox hat. Typical liberal, don't loyal to your spine. Listen. If we're being honest, I could give a fuck about baseball. I'm a Giants fan by default, and I just really liked this White Sox hat. And this is I have hats of other teams, but I'm sorry that my baseball loyalty is not up to snuff for you.
It's riddled with legal problems. Waiting to see what the indictment shows. But
here comes Maud. Crossfire Hurricane. Somewhere Maud just pulled over on her DoorDash deliveries, and now she's never mind.
Not by any means impressed by this maneuver.
I also wonder about recent changes at the DOJ, and specifically I'm talking about former Attorney General Pam Bondi's exit. President Trump on social media posted about his frustrations over her not pursuing prosecutions against some of his political rivals, Comey among them, as well as Letitia James, James Brennan, etc. Does it say something about how the new acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche, President Trump's former personal attorney, might approach these cases?
This is so crazy. Just anybody who ever tried to hold Trump accountable, we're like, we got to prosecute them. Yeah, he might go after Mike Pence. Good question.
Certainly something we're going to learn about in the pretrial motions, no doubt, in some form of discovery is, were there declination memos? Did this already try to get brought up? And Pam Bondi, of all people, who was by no means weak-willed when it came to trying to bring prosecutions in support of Donald Trump's vendetta, did she turn these down? And yet Todd Blanche and now Joe DiGenova as well, who was brought in as a counselor to DOJ.
Yeah, Bondi might have been more reasonable, honestly, maybe.
Florida, are they now trying to bring this over the objections of career prosecutors who previously rejected this? It's going to look terrible for the Justice Department and its reputation, no doubt, when this all gets fleshed out in some form of criminal discovery.
How is this not fascism? Because I think it's just not fascism because Donald Trump's not a fascist. I think that's the argument now at this point. It looks and smells and is fascism, but it's not fascism because we love Donald Trump.
And if this ever gets to trial, which I don't expect it will, but Donald Trump doesn't care about that. What he wants is what he's getting right this moment, which is the headline, James Comey indicted. He wants the spectacle. He doesn't care about what comes out in the end. If he gets prosecuted and convicted, that's just a bonus for Donald Trump. He wants these chyrons right now.
All right. It's so bad that Republicans, even their best defenders of Donald Trump, they can't even get this right. Here's Jim Jordan on with Fox News. I think this is AI. I'm pretty sure this guy's a robot. But here, listen to Jim Jordan try and defend this.
Is this case stronger than the one 12 months ago?
Sorry, Phoenix said maybe he'll go after the guy who convinced him to not shoot protesters in the legs in the first term. Yeah, probably.
Is this case stronger than the one 12 months ago?
Well, it's a crime to threaten the president. 18 U.S.C. Section 871, so you can't do that, and he obviously did. Now, he tries to tell us that no, he was just strolling on the beach one morning with drinking his coffee, and then the good Lord had washed up on shore shells in the formation of 8647, and he took a picture of it. Okay, that's his story. I don't think anyone buys that. But you can't threaten the president.
Fair enough. Buy that or not, I don't think it changes anything.
And I think it's important to remember, this is Jim Comey who started it all. This 10-year attack on the president of the United States, on President Trump, started with Comey and remember, he took the dossier that he knew was garbage. He's the guy who took it to the secret court to get the warrant to go spy on President Trump's campaign.
He just abandoned this entire case. He literally has nothing. He has nothing. He just abandoned this whole case. See how there's no defense here? It's just going to be smearing James Comey.
He's the guy who leaked the memos. He's the guy who leaked classified information through his buddy, Daniel Richmond, to the press. So this is that guy, and now he tells us, oh, I didn't do anything wrong, when we all know what this means.
Everything you listed, he's not being charged in this case.
I understand that.
We'll see what it says this afternoon. So the other side's going to say, look, the president's just going after his enemy.
I mixed up Robert Mueller. That's all right.
And so are Republicans. What do you think about that charge?
No, I think Todd Blanche is doing good work, and it shouldn't be lost on.
He's doing such a great job that I can't talk about any of it. I can't make an argument for any of it. He's just doing a great job.
Anyone that the very week that the Southern Poverty Law Center gets indicted is also the week that there was a third assassination attempt on the President of the United States. And the Southern Poverty Law Center has been out there for 8 years paying $3 million to foment hate and divide the country. I think that's the big takeaway from last week. And so I say God bless Todd Blanche and the work he and the Justice Department are doing.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to go somewhere too. The Southern Poverty Law Center case is also going to go somewhere. I just want you guys to come back. Those of you who think that the Southern Poverty Law Center case is legitimate, I just want you to come back when it goes nowhere and admit that you were wrong. I know that's hoping for a lot, but it'd be cool if you did. Here's the actual indictment. Here's the 2 counts that he was actually indicted on. Count 1, on or about May 15th, 2025, in the Eastern District of North Carolina, the defendant James Bryan Comey Jr. did knowingly and willfully make a threat to take the life of and to inflict harm upon the President of the United States in that he publicly posted a photograph on the internet, social media, site Instagram, which depicted seashells arranged in a pattern making out 8647, which a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret as a serious expression of an intent to do harm to the President of the United States. That's one. It'd be interesting to see what evidence they had. and how they got there. And then count 2, knowingly and willfully did transmit in interstate and foreign commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill the president. So they're basically just saying because this post went across, like it wasn't just in North Carolina, that they violated interstate and foreign commerce. And I guess it went foreign. That's what he's charged with. Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
SPLC committed bank fraud.
Simple as, are we not doing innocent until proven guilty now? It's not simple, Yosemite. It's an indictment. And it will go nowhere. They didn't, the evidence that they committed bank fraud is that they set up LLCs, which you're allowed to do. But come back later. Come back in a few months when nothing happens. All right. In actual important news, which we'll get to now after we've had to deal with this dumbass administration, Amber said Watts versus the United States 1969 facing. I have to go. Let's see. What is this? Watts versus United States. I'm not familiar with that. Look this up. Landmark Supreme Court case that established the true threat doctrine in First Amendment jurisprudence. During an anti-war rally in 1966, 18-year-old Robert Watts stated, "If they ever make me carry a rifle, the first man I want to get in my sights is LBJ." He was arrested and convicted under a 1917 federal statute that prohibited knowingly and willfully threatening the life of the president. Supreme Court reversed his conviction in a 5-4 decision, holding that the statement was not a true threat, but rather constitutionally protected political hyperbole. Court emphasized several key points. 1, political hyperbole. The language used in the political arena is often vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp. Contextual analysis. Court noted that Watts' statement was made during a debate, was conditional, and was met with laughter from the crowd, all of which signaled it was an expression of political opposition rather than a serious intent to commit violence. And the true threat document, while the court upheld the constitutionality of the underlying statute itself, it established that the government must prove the existence of a true threat to secure a conviction, thereby protecting political speech from being unfairly criminalized. So, yeah, they're going to have to prove that Comey meant to cause harm to the president. Good luck with that. Do I believe my own false information and lies? Bitch, I was showing you the fucking indictment. I showed you the indictment.
I don't believe that. I don't believe indictments. I only believe what they tell me.
All right. In actual news that anybody gives a fuck about, this guy Fox says, I wonder if Comey regrets his press conference 11 days before the 2016 election, which got Trump elected. He said he did in his book. I read his book. He said that he regretted that. U.S. Supreme Court strikes down Louisiana congressional maps in case with national implications. Supreme Court struck down Louisiana's existing congressional map Wednesday as an unconstitutional racial gerrymander in a ruling that may have implications for core tenets of the Voting Rights Act. Allowing race to play any part in government decision-making represents a departure from the constitutional rule that applies in almost every other context. Justice Alito, who was appointed to the court, it doesn't matter. Compliance with Section 2 thus could not justify the state's use of race-based redistricting here. The state's attempt to satisfy the Middle District's ruling, although understandable, was an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. This feels like it's going to wake up a bunch of people and cause a whole hell of a lot of lawsuits. On the face, I get the logic of what they're saying, honestly. You can't gerrymander based on race. So what they're saying is because these maps were made to ensure that black communities maintained their voting block and their protection, and because it was based on race, that it would be unconstitutional. However, we do this all the time. We gerrymander districts to take away black voices all the time. This will be used, and this is why I don't understand this ruling, because what's going to happen is they're going to undo this map in Louisiana, and then after they undo this map in Louisiana, the legislature in Louisiana is going to break up these black communities, and they're going to gerrymander them into other districts and make sure that white people have a bigger vote. It's the same thing. I really, honest to God, don't understand this ruling. Is there a Republican in here that can explain that to me? How is it that if we draw these lines to make sure that black people maintain as a voting bloc some representation, they can't do that? But if you gerrymander in order to break up that block of people, that's not based on race. I don't get it. Do we have any Republicans here that want to explain that to me? Isn't it interesting, though, that we will rule against minority voters? I want to, like, we just saw what happened in Virginia. We ruled against voters. Apparently, it's fine in Texas. No, they're of course, they're happy about it. Yeah. So, cool. Who knows if this is going to have impact on the midterms? I don't know what the rules are in Louisiana. Somebody else probably maybe knows better than I do. But once again, Democrats' response to this, the good responses are led by AOC. As per usual, AOC has the right response.
Them to just hide that intent instead of actually address and prevent and protect Americans' voting rights who are at risk, and especially.
Why do you only care about black districts? What about Chinese? What about Indian? What about paraplegics? Where do the identity group numbers end? This court case was about black districts. That's why we're covering it. If there was a Supreme Court case about paraplegics and their voting rights being stripped, or their protections being stripped, or if it was about Chinese people, or if it was about Indian people, then we would talk about it that way. But this Supreme Court case was about black districts. That's why we care about it.
Address and prevent and protect Americans' voting rights who are at risk, and especially communities, I think, in the south of the United States, but it really affects.
Look at Illinois maps, rigged as fuck. Yeah, so why don't you talk to the Republicans? Because the Republicans consistently vote down anti-gerrymandering legislation. AOC and the Democrats have consistently voted for and presented anti-gerrymandering legislation, and it is always the Republicans every single motherfucking time who vote against it. So shut the fuck up. Look at Illinois. Cool. Change the rules. I'd like to change the rules. I hate gerrymandering. I think gerrymandering is wrong. I think it should be unconstitutional, but we can't make it unconstitutional until Congress gets off their ass and passes it, and they won't pass it because Republicans can only survive through gerrymandering. So you're just going to play whataboutism. You don't care about this issue. I care about the issue. I think gerrymandering should end. I don't like any of it. You do like it, but you just don't like it when Democrats do it. And that's the difference between you and I, principles.
Every American across the country.
Should New York respond in kind by doing its own redistricting once the amendment, if the amendment passes?
I have long felt that we all have to play by the same set of rules. And the Republican caucus has made it very clear that they want and are setting rules of partisan gerrymandering. The Democratic caucus has tried to pass nonpartisan gerrymandering for 10 years. Republicans have rejected it. And so we have to all abide by the same rules. And so if Republicans are going to redraw North Carolina, if they're going to redraw Texas, if they're going to redraw and gerrymander every one of their states, then unfortunately, we have to provide balance to that until we get to the day where we can all finally agree to put this behind us and pass nonpartisan gerrymandering federally.
Yeah, got to play the game. It doesn't matter if you vote or not. The committee of 300 determine what's going to happen. Committee of 300? What are you talking about? It doesn't matter if you vote or not. The committee of three. Who's the committee of 300? Did we just get a new conspiracy theory that I'm unaware of? What is the committee of 300? Yeah, but she is right. Until the rules change, Democrats have to play, and they have to get dirty. They have to make everybody in this country recognize how fucked it is that we allow gerrymandering. And until we do, you can't just be like, Dems, play by the rules, and let the Republicans not play by the rules. Don't fall down that rabbit hole. Do you know about it? Sorry, Benny, I won't. Have you heard it? Do you know what she's talking about? I've never heard of that in my life. This is Sparta. Oh, okay, got it. It was just the movie. 300. Appreciate it. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded, so anything you can do to help us knock out our gift goal by the end of the live would be greatly appreciated. I can't go the full time today. I do need to be done at about 1:30, 1:45-ish, so we'll cut it about 15 minutes short. But anything you can do to help us knock out that gift goal each and every day would be greatly appreciated. We're crowdfunded. Ad revenue is dead. TikTok obviously is down, which sucks. If we're being honest, that's a significant chunk taken out of our revenue, and we look forward to making that up other places. But if you can help us out, that'd be awesome. As a reminder, we have paid subscriptions on YouTube and Twitch, and if you want to join us for members-only events, you need to be a paid subscriber and then join the Discord. On Wednesday, we'll be watching 2 more episodes of the company retreat, and I think I have some clips here. I think I have the next one picked out, but I forgot what it's called. Otherwise, I'd tell you what it is right now. But oh yeah, it's the one with the dude from the OC. He did like a crypto documentary. We're going to watch that one next. So that'll be the next one when we're done with the company retreat, which we may go company retreat we may go 3 episodes this next time and then finish it off. Okay. Let's get into some of these congressional hearings. First, Doug Burgum on with Senator Angus King. Doug Burgum is, what is he? Is he not energy? He is Secretary of the Interior, I believe. He's over like national parks. He's another oil lobbyist, and these oil lobbyists just want to destroy all of our environment so that they can drill more oil. And for some reason, you guys on the Republican side are just like pro-oil. You just love oil lobbyists. You just love destroying the environment. Fuck having a national park to go look and hang out in. Let's not protect it. Let's just drill, baby, drill. But here he is with Angus King, and Senator King absolutely obliterates him. Phoenix Rice said, Hungary is all the proof you need that radical change can happen from voting. They wouldn't try so hard to make voting difficult if they wanted it. Facts.
More diverse energy source, particularly one that's based on resources that we control rather than a worldwide price, would be beneficial to the country. Your thoughts?
Well, I think having secure supply chains is essential, but the idea that somehow going down a path of wind and solar makes things more affordable is just not factually true.
It's not factually true, except for that it is 100% factually true and based by, like, if you base it on math, if you're comparing prices, then it's factually true. But if you are just a feelings guy who's owned by big oil, then it's not factually true. There's nobody in the world that can provide you numbers that says oil and natural gas are more cost effective than renewable energy. Nobody. Thank you, Stacia. Hopefully I said that right.
Wind and solar are the lowest cost energy sources today by a factor of about 2.
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree. That's not what the oil overlords told me. I just disagree. It's actually more expensive. How? I just disagree.
Because we have no ability to dispatch wind and solar, and so if you're going to have wind and solar as part of the mix and the over rotation to those, and then prematurely shutting down base load,
nobody's saying prematurely.
Every state that has a renewable target has electricity prices about 50% higher than
nobody is saying shut down renewable.
Now that's a misleading stat there. He said every state that has a renewable target has higher prices. I don't know if it's every state, but if we're looking at places that have higher energy prices, they had higher energy prices before renewable energy. I'm in one of those states. I live in Arizona. We have really high energy rates, and it's because of the type of gas we use and logistics. And so we try and hit metrics. We try and generate more wind and solar. Why? Because it's less expensive. It keeps our prices down. That's why.
Baseload prematurely. Your state is 35% wind. And this year, almost 300 megawatts of battery storage is being installed in your state of North Dakota, which has the effect of mitigating the intermittency issue with wind and solar. That's happening all over the country. The expansion of battery capacity in the last 18 months has been absolutely fantastic. And so this idea that wind and solar aren't baseload, they are baseload if there's sufficient storage, and the storage is definitely coming even in North Dakota, and I don't understand.
Elizabeth, I'm going to address you here because this is the problem with the way that we argue politically. And I'm going to use you as an example, and hopefully you can take this in good faith. You said 2 things. You said oil's not the problem or these oil lobbyists because they're not trying to dictate school systems, medical programs, or hedge funds. And then you said there's nothing wrong with oil. I can't live without it, buddy. Nobody's asking you to live without oil. Nobody's saying that. What we're saying is renewable energy, solar and wind, are cost effective and they offset the costs. We can't switch to solar and wind. There's not enough production there that we could get off of oil or natural gas. You need all of them. But if you invest in energy, renewable energy like solar and wind, it brings down prices. So that's what we're saying. It's so easy to blame oil people. Who's behind them? Them. Yeah, and they pay off environmentalists to side with them. Yes, that's what we're saying. The same thing, Elizabeth. We are saying the exact same thing. Doug Burgum, this man testifying before Congress and saying dumb shit like, oh, actually oil is more cost effective than solar or wind energy, is saying that because the oil lobbyists are paying him. Again, nobody is blaming oil itself. We are blaming the people who lie so that the oil companies' profits can be at all-time highs. Does it help or hurt the oil company's bottom line when we invest in renewable energy? It hurts their bottom line. They make less money. So are they incentivized to lie about solar and wind? Yes. Are they incentivized to pay politicians to push their agenda? Yes. That's what we're saying here. If you look at anybody's energy stack, so if like I use SRP here in Arizona, and if you look at our energy stack and you say like which energy do we pay the least amount for to generate, it's wind and then it's solar. And so the more wind energy and the more solar energy we can put into our stack or into the grid, the more offset we can do for rising LNG prices. That's all that Senator King here is saying. Senator King's simply saying like, hey, you look at these states where you're from in North Dakota, you guys have invested heavily in wind and solar energy. Why have you done that? To keep prices lower. Now, North Dakota, South Dakota, they drill oil like crazy. It's one of their biggest industries. So why are they also investing in wind and solar? Because it offsets the costs. This is where politics fuck us up. The right answer is some mix of energy sources. What the politicians want you to believe is it's oil or it's renewable energy. And you have to pick one. And one is good and one is bad. And we see that time and time again in this chat and on TV all the time. It's not that I hate oil. I would prefer the less amount of oil or the least amount of oil we could use, the better, because it is bad for the air. Like whether you believe in climate change or not, it's silly not to, but even if you don't, breathing in cleaner air is better for all of us. I would rather all of our natural resources stay intact. So if we can replace any amount of oil with renewable, cheaper energy, we should. Should we go all in on renewable energy and leave like the grids to suffer and make it so that we lose powers and we have lose power and we have rolling blackouts and brownouts? Absolutely not. But the more renewable energy we can use and sustain what we need, the better. But this is like that two-party shit. They're just like, oh, you have to choose one or the other. And it felt like, Elizabeth, if you're still here, it felt like that's what you were doing, and that's what Burgum is doing here. The answer is some sort of mix. And the more we can create clean energy, whether it's renewable or even things like nuclear. Somebody sent me what was it that you sent me? I was looking at this yesterday. The molten salt reactors. I read it. Seems like a good option as well. There's other ways that we can create energy that don't pollute as much. That's better. So let's not sit here and argue on sides here. Doug Burgum has a side. It's not yours and it's not mine. He's paid by oil lobbyists to crush renewable energy. Don't take his side. The other issue with the oil is that it's a global commodity. So if one producer cannot produce, it gets more expensive for everyone. Wind and solar don't. Good point.
Understand why you continually say wind and solar aren't reliable, et cetera. They're aren't base load. When your own state, you're the 6th highest wind source state in the nation, and it's saving you from the cost, the currently exorbitant cost of fossil fuels.
Thank you, Neffys, for the gifted subs. Appreciate that. And
in North Dakota, we expanded base load as opposed to shrinking base load at the same time that we were adding renewables. But understand, there are times in North Dakota when the wind does not blow, of course, and the sun doesn't shine.
So what do you do with that? When the wind isn't blowing and the sun doesn't shine, what's the workaround? Anybody? What do we do about those times? Well, one, we still have natural gas, still have oil, we still have coal. What else can we do? Storage. Thank you. Storage. Store the energy. Batteries.
That's when batteries and storage come in.
Yeah, the battery numbers you're talking about in terms of megawatts relative to the massive amount of energy we have, the battery storage worldwide, even though it could be doubling, but right now it's less than an hour's worth of storage worldwide. I mean, like an hour's worth of power on all the batteries in the world.
Why in the fuck would he use a worldwide number? This guy is the Secretary of the Department of the Interior. This is when you know that you're getting your numbers from the fossil fuel industry. Nobody gives a fuck what the worldwide number is. We're not sharing our energy with the world. What's the number here? Why would he take the worldwide number? Because there's a lot of countries with broken infrastructure. There's a lot of places in this world that don't have batteries, that don't have solar, that don't have wind. That's why he chose the worldwide number and not the numbers from his own state where they're doing really, really well.
Added up.
Well, I'm not talking about worldwide. I'm talking about the United States and the vast expansion of battery capacity. In California, they are finding that the duck curve is being leveled out because they have excess capacity during the day. They put it in storage, and when at nighttime comes or the wind doesn't blow, the storage operates. It's a very cost-effective solution that is expanding dramatically. So I understand.
All right. Get lobbyists out of Congress. This guy, Doug Burgum, is not, wherever you fall on the political spectrum, he's not advocating for you. He's not doing anything for you. All right. Let's see. Let's do this one. This is him being asked by, oh shoot, is this the right one? Shit, I skipped that one. Let's move on. We'll go on to Lee Zeldin being questioned by Representative Landsman. Now, Lee Zeldin, we had him yesterday. Lee Zeldin's over the EPA, another lobbyist. Lee Zeldin is top tier, but perhaps the best in the Trump administration at refusing to answer questions and talking over people. So it's going to give you a little bit of a headache, so trigger warning. But Landsman just asked him, like, we're cutting healthcare everywhere. We're polluting more. We're creating carve-outs for people who are going to bring in dangerous pesticides. Should we be concerned about that? And here's Lee Zeldin's response.
Healthcare cuts coupled with EPA cuts. People are obviously worried about their health.
We're going to make you more sick and also make it harder to get health insurance. Cool.
Don't you agree that's a concern with the healthcare cuts, and now you're going to pollute more of the water and the air?
Send it to me, Colonial Charlie.
Actually, the feedback that I get is that people are happy that
where's this feedback coming from? I don't like.
So it's America. When you actually get out and you travel the country, and I've been to all 50 states across this country, and when I travel, I get an opportunity to hear feedback from Americans.
You touch.
Sure you do. Sure you do. Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens for Lee Zeldin when he travels around this country. People come up and they tell him how happy they are with our healthcare system. They walk up to the EPA administrator and say, I'm so happy with our healthcare system. Thank you so much, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. For sure that happens. He's not making that up.
Hear feedback from Americans.
You touch ground and you talk to people, and they're running up to you and they're just saying, "Thank you so much for cutting the EPA. Thank you so much for cutting our health care. We are so glad that trillions of dollars are going to the richest people in this country."
They don't want us to get rid of entire sectors of our economy through regulation. They're happy when they have consumer choice.
Nobody asked that. They asked how it makes sense to cut regulation, increase pollution, and also take away people's health care.
They're thrilled when they know
it's quite
alarming. Is going to get removed. They want manufacturers.
So last question.
Again, I'm not even going to blame you, Republicans. He's not for you. He's not advocating for Republican policies or conservative policies. He is completely owned by the fossil fuel industry, and he's fighting against you. And he's in that position because the fossil fuel industry gave the Trump administration a bunch of money, and nobody in this administration gives a fuck about anything but money. But they're definitely not fighting for you. If you set aside like your love for Trump and just pay attention to Lee Zeldin, like what's he doing for you? He's going to make our air worse. He's going to make our food less safe. And then they're going to cut healthcare. How is that good?
Last question. They do.
That's the feedback that I hear from Americans. Yeah,
for sure that happens, Lee Zeldin. Let's move on to Linda McMahon, the Department of Education Secretary. She's having a rough time. Quick reminder for Linda McMahon that her previous history was she worked in the WWE and she has been sued, and her organization has been found liable. I don't know if they settled it or got found liable. Somebody's going to have to look that up. Of human trafficking. So that's pretty cool. And then we put her in charge of education. Here she is with Tammy Baldwin from Wisconsin, just trying to make sense of this. Like part of what the Department of Education does, despite what people say, is they're not out here and setting agendas. They're not out here setting curriculum. The Department of Education largely deals with funding. They deal with loans. They deal with lawsuits. They deal with civil rights violations. They would deal with like sexual harassment violations. They're not the people that are out there actually setting the curriculum. And I think that sometimes that gets lost, and we think that that's what the education secretary does, but she doesn't. Her job is to make sure that administratively things are working. And by God, she's doing a bad job.
Secretary McMahon, the Department of Labor provides employment and job training services, enforces our federal labor laws, and protects retirement and health care benefits of workers. Why are you sending programs that support elementary schools and elementary school students to the Department of Labor?
I certainly do think that as we look at how education should be viewed in our country. Clearly, there are many aspects of education. It's enrichment of minds, it's development of thought, but it is also...
Okay, so what we're talking about is shifting funding and responsibility to the Department of Labor for elementary school children. Does anybody have a good reason for that? Why are we shifting funding that should go to elementary schools to the Department of Labor? And let's hear her answer again here.
At how education should be viewed in our country. Clearly, there are many aspects of education. It's enrichment of minds, it's development of thought, but it is also to provide an opportunity for children, once they have finished their education, to enter into the workforce and have an opportunity.
We're talking about elementary K through 12, and the grants that you're transferring to Department of Labor are much larger and much more complex than what the Department of Labor currently admits.
So we're just pulling money out of education to give to the Department of Labor. And her defense for that is we need to prepare these elementary school children to enter the labor force.
Ministers.
Yeah. They working for you? Have a Royal Rumble between Republicans and Democrats, last man standing. Not bad idea, but to the people in Congress, I like that idea. You know who would love that idea is Lee Harvey McMullins. Here is Senator Murray with Secretary McMahon. There's a civil rights Office of Civil Rights Division within the Department of Education, and the first thing that she did when she stepped into office is fire half of them. And that has caused some problems, and you'll see the problems that's caused.
Questions, and my time's limited.
What's the point of having these hearings? Will it change anything? Not with this administration, but hopefully there are some sensible people who hear these hearings, and this is why I cover them, who hear and see this and go, oh, okay, they're not helping. This is obviously corrupt. I mean, this is legitimately just taking money from children and giving it to companies. That's what they're doing. It is the epitome of fuck them kids.
Questions and my time's limited. Let me ask you, a little over a year ago, you made the decision to eliminate more than half the staff in the Office of Civil Rights and close half of the regional field offices. Now, you have testified repeatedly that students won't even notice your efforts to abolish the department, but I'd like to hear you tell that to the students and parents who have yet to hear anything about their case, let alone have it be fully investigated and resolved. Because you know, in President Trump's first year of his first term, OCR resolved about 60 sexual harassment cases and 15 sexual assault cases. Can you tell me how many of these cases were resolved in the first year of this term?
Well, I can tell you what we're doing with our OCR program. We are definitely moving forward.
Give us a number. She asked for a number of how many of these sexual harassment and sexual assault cases have been resolved this year in schools. Sexual assault and sexual harassment. How many? You guys want to guess? Can you guys guess how many? There's a number. Somebody guess 0. Give me a number. How many do you think? At 65 the previous year. How many?
We inherited.
No, I asked how many.
We inherited about 19,000 backlog of cases from the Biden administration.
How many of those were resolved last year?
And so what we have done, and I have hired into the Department of Education, Kim Rishi, who was the director
I had a
of
quick
that
question,
department.
and I have more questions, so I want you to answer the question I asked is how many of those cases were resolved last year, in the first year?
We are moving to resolve as many cases as we can, but we are bringing back many of
Listen, Linda, how many?
those lawyers which were part of that RIF. And there was a time when we were not processing cases.
Sorry, let me go back to this part because this is going to segue into our next question, but
were part of that RIF.
And
cases were resolved last year, in the first year.
We are moving to resolve as many cases as we can, but we are bringing back many of those lawyers which were part of that RIF.
we're bringing back many of these lawyers which were part of that RIF. Just remember that she said that.
And there was a time when we were not processing cases as quickly as we should.
Well,
but we are now focused on doing that and moving forward with the expertise
for the record,
of the woman.
answer to my question is 0.
0. And let's talk about that riff here. Here's Chris Murphy talking to her about that riff. Oh, shit. Is this the right one? Yeah. Here's Senator Chris Murphy from Vermont. Let's talk about that riff.
But it's important that
But you did
bring
the
back
but I mean,
people
you're
to
saying
heaven.
you were trying to figure out how to better resolve cases. You resolved not a single case in Connecticut in 2025. I mean, how do you defend that? Not a
Answer the question I asked. Why should she? She's doing the Democrat non-answer. You're being a dumb fuck. Captain Nate.
I don't want my government to answer questions because Democrats bad.
You bitch. You absolute fucking bitch.
I prefer that they don't answer questions because Democrats bad.
This is why our country's fucked. Because of people like you.
I don't hold anybody accountable. I just give them a pass on everything. Why should they answer questions about sexual harassment and sexual assault of children? I don't want them to address that because Democrats bad.
Respectfully, and chat, help me out on this. Get fucked, Captain Nate. I don't know what you're capping of, but goddamn, if it's not stupidity, you might have found a new calling. Maybe that's the ship you join next. Because holy fuck, that's stupid.
Don't answer questions because Dem's bad.
single child in Connecticut got a positive resolution from the Department of Education for their discrimination claims. 70 of them had disability claims. How do you defend that?
Well, it is very difficult when I'm trying to address those particular issues, except to know that those things were happening, and we are looking forward to make sure that they stop happening.
But you fired half the department.
But that is hindsight, what we are doing now.
What does that mean?
The riff was she fired half the fucking department.
Well, that was hindsight.
Excuse me? You want to hear it again? This was the riff. They walked in, didn't ask any questions, and fired half the people.
Education for their discrimination claims. 70 of them had disability claims. How do you defend that?
Well, it is very difficult when I'm trying to address those particular issues, except to know that those things were happening. And we are looking forward to make sure that they stop happening.
But you fired half the department.
But that is hindsight. What we are doing now
What does that mean?
Is that, you know.
Cabinet, you said, Deb, and I agree, Democrats are bad. I also said you're a bitch. Just remember, Democrats, I said Democrats are bad and you're a bitch. I agree, Democrats aren't very good, so we can agree on that. But we should also be able to agree that you're a dumb bitch for even saying that. She should not answer questions.
What we are doing now
What does that mean?
Is that you know perfectly well what it is. We've brought people on board to handle these cases.
What does that mean that it's hindsight? You know. Yeah, you fucked up. You fired people for no reason. And now there's people who have sexual assault and harassment claims, and they're not being taken care of because you blindly fired a bunch of people in the name of Doge. And then you had to hire them back. And now you have a backlog. And the ones that you didn't hire back, you had to pay early retirement to. So now we're paying early retirement for people who aren't working anymore. And then you had to hire everybody who didn't take early retirement back. You cost us more money and you're getting nothing done. Cool.
Now,
what does that mean?
Is that you know perfectly well what it is. We've brought people on board to handle these cases because I believe that they should be handled. We should be dismissing these cases. We should be finding resolutions to them. And so those attorneys are being brought back. They were
how many of them have been brought back?
All of the ones that were fired who didn't take early retirement, they came back, and we are in this budget have more money to.
Stanley says Linda McMahon is 100 times smarter than this douche drizzle. Misspelled McMahon and douche. Hell of a start there, pal.
Hire more lawyers.
No, this budget proposes a 35% reduction to the Office of Civil Rights, and so that's my final question.
No, but it is a budget of increasing dollars for civil rights, and we are hiring more lawyers.
No, it's not. This office, this budget has a 35% proposed reduction for the Office of Civil Rights.
This is her budget. This is her budget. She just said that it's an increase. It's a 35% cut. This is MAGA math to its core. A 35% cut actually means an increase. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. And then Jeff Merkley had his turn with Linda McMahon. She's just so bad. Jeff Merkley, God bless his heart, was a little more patient.
Created a new federal loan limit for graduate and professional borrowers, and this is for federal loans.
Okay, so there's two types of ways that you can get loans if you're going to school, right? You can have federal loans, and those are obviously guaranteed by the federal government, have to be appropriated by Congress. They come as in the form of a request from the Department of Education, and then you have private loans. So who would be benefiting from massive cuts to federal loans? Private loans, right? Do they lobby the fuck out of Congress? Absolutely they do. What does that also mean? It means worse rates for the people who are going to college. It means that higher rates, worse terms, and not federally guaranteed. So cool.
And in the rule that you've put forward, you've created a distinction for postgraduate nursing students and said basically they're going to be capped at $20,000, $500 annually. And there's a tremendous concern that those caps are going to decimate the ability for folks to be able to get post-baccalaureate nursing degrees.
We have a shortage of nurses. So let's make it harder for them to go to school. Kirsten said, do you guys think she could pocket some of those funds? No, that's a weird thing that we do in America where we pretend that people in the administration can pocket funds. They can't. Any of the money that they're making come in terms of kickbacks from the people lobbying to them.
There's 150 members of Congress who signed a letter pointing this out. It's a very bipartisan letter as well. So I will submit for the record that letter. Thank you very much.
I think giving a constitutional right to get a loan for an out-of-state $60,000 per year art degree is not a good idea. I agree with you, Walrus. That's why there is no constitutional right to get a loan for an out-of-state $60,000 per year art degree. I'm glad that we're on the same page there. That was a fun thing that you made up.
Madam Chairman,
Given our shortage of healthcare workers, given how few general practitioners we have, why are you targeting nurses as we face these dire healthcare and trying to prevent people from getting these graduate degrees?
Thank you for that question. Certainly nurses are not being targeted, and this is part of a rulemaking regulation.
What do you want to call it then? You're cutting you're cutting the funding. So how's that not being targeted? It's crazy. She just is like, no, words don't mean what you think they mean. I just get to interpret words however I want.
These graduate degrees.
Thank you for that question. Certainly nurses are not being targeted, and this is part of a rulemaking regulation that's still in the process of rulemaking, not quite finished, but this is not in any way to cast any kind of aspersions or any kind of review of the nursing programs.
Nobody said you're casting aspersions or conducting a review. You said you're cutting funding, and so it makes it harder for people to get money to go to school and get a nursing degree. Do they understand what anything means? Does she understand what any of these words mean? How is this the Department of Education secretary? No qualifications. This is the dumbest cabinet ever assembled. Maybe they just did it on purpose. Like, just literally put the dumbest people at the top, throw them in front of Congress. They have no idea, and then let the Heritage Foundation run everything behind the scenes.
Or other of health service programs that have come under regulation for postgraduate degrees. It is simply by the definition that Congress itself wrote into the regulation as what considered a professional degree. And so by putting caps on some of those professions that don't fall into the category that has been absolutely determined by Congress under the regulatory environment, we hope to bring down the cost of college.
So, Madam Secretary,
by giving less access to money to attend college, we think we will bring down the cost of college. Let's walk through that. How would that work? She's not wrong. But how would that work? Be supply and demand, right? If less people are going to college, what she thinks. I don't even know if it would bring that down, because the colleges still have revenue, so it might drive the price up. But this is what she's being told. That would mean we have less nurses, right? If less people can get funding and that drives the cost down, then that means we are going to have shortages.
If I might, this is important.
I only have a few seconds.
$100,000 cap for graduates for
Thank you. I hear your point.
And $200,000 for others.
Yeah, it's giving. If more people die, we'll have more resources to go around. Yeah, exactly. If there's less people to feed, food prices might go down.
Here's the thing. The OBA bill did not make these distinctions. It's your rule that is proposing this distinction for nurses. So I'd encourage you to look at the actual OBA language. Second of all, the argument is that if I was making your case.
Why should you have to pay for anyone else's college education? You don't. These are loans. You dumb, goddamn dumb bitch. Listen, you're too stupid for any of us to believe that your taxpayer money is going to pay for somebody else's education. You don't have one yourself. You're here in the middle of the fucking day crying about your money paying for other people's education. These are loans. The fuck do you think a loan is? What do you think that is? It's repaid with interest. The government makes money on that. Why should the government make money? I don't even pay taxes. Good God, you guys are dumb sometimes. When Trump said, I love the uneducated, it was you. That's who he's talking about. It's so frustrating to watch real human beings in real time say the dumbest fucking shit. And then you're going to get mad. Whenever you respond here, you're about to get mad at me, and you're going to say some more dumb shit, and you're going to double down for a while, and then the chat's going to eat you up. And meanwhile, like, you're just sitting there with pizza rolls. You don't pay any taxes. You don't understand any of this. Less words, more listen.
For you that by reducing the loans, somehow people will get their degree for cheaper. That's not what happens. What happens is they have to go from the federal loans that have a lower interest rate to the private loans that have a much higher interest rate, and that makes it much less affordable and much less appealing to pursue these degrees. So it really has a devastating impact. The only people who are helped by that strategy are the private loan companies that make a lot more money. That is not helping our healthcare system.
And they give a lot of money to people like Linda McMahon hating on pizza rolls. I honestly, yeah, I think pizza rolls suck. I apologize to anybody who likes pizza rolls, and it's just one person's opinion. But yeah, I think pizza rolls suck. All right, I'm going to come back to some of these other members of the administration testifying, but I do want. We haven't talked about Iran for a long time. I'm gonna skip what Trump said. I mean, we're in this weird holding state right now where somehow Donald Trump is still able to say with a straight face that they are blockading the Strait of Hormuz, at the same time demanding that Iran stop blockading the Strait of Hormuz, and then just everybody in the Republican Party pretending like that makes perfect sense. They're calling his bluff over and over and over again. This seems like a war that could go on for a very long time. Now the negotiation is about the Strait of Hormuz, which was fucking open before we bombed them. So now we're talking about a ceasefire and ending this war if Iran agrees to open the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran's basically saying like, yeah, we can negotiate it, but we're going to get some money. You're going to have to pay us back for bombing our fucking country. And Trump's like, no, we're not going to do that. So we're now trying to end a war that never needed to happen. And what we want out of this war is to have something that we all had before. Cool. That's legitimately where we're at right now. And I'm going to show you a bunch of clips of Pete Hegseth pretending he's doing a good job. But first I want to show you Marco Rubio openly and publicly admitting to war crimes. I don't know why he did this. I'm assuming he expects a pardon.
How do you walk the line between targeting...
Sorry. Jen said, advanced practice nurse is still important, but master's degree prepared or higher, or preferred? Master's degree prepared or higher. Bachelor's and lower aren't effective. Amy Lynn said, we've been losing drilling capacity under Trump, and now he is selling large amounts of our inventory to other countries. Phoenix said, the other issue with oil is that it's a global commodity. I think I read that one. I just skipped some. Sorry about that. All right, let's get back to Rubio admitting to war crimes.
How do you walk the line between targeting infrastructure in Iran that hurts the regime but doesn't hurt the civilian population that you are trying to win over?
Well, the first thing is always intent. Our desire is not to hurt the people of Iran. We have no problem with the people of Iran. Frankly, we wish the voices of the people of Iran were heard, as opposed to having 30 and 40,000 of them murdered in the streets. And so our targets will always be things that support the regime directly. Obviously, there might be a road or a power plant or a factory somewhere that also benefits the economy, but its primary role is to benefit the regime and its security apparatus.
We do war crimes, but it's not our intention to do war crimes. We just do them. Cool. That's going to come back to haunt you, bud. I don't think you can be pardoned out of war crimes. Here is Jeremy Scahill from Dropsite News, because while we oh no, wait, sorry. Let me set this up right. Marco Rubio then goes on to talk about the Strait of Hormuz, which it's important to remember that the Strait of Hormuz was open. This war isn't about the Strait of Hormuz, and now it is. So if opening the Strait of Hormuz is what allows us to end this war, then I think you're just admitting that we never needed to have this war in the first place.
It's great to see you here, not on a balcony with a vest on.
Absolutely. Great to see you. What do you see as the main roadblock to an agreement with the Iranian government?
Well, other than the fact that the country's run by radical Shia clerics.
What do I consider open? I have no idea. Ask Trump. I don't know what open means. They're not telling us either. I mean, their boats are being restricted going through the Strait of Hormuz. They weren't being restricted before. Now they are.
That's a pretty big impediment. The other is that they're deeply fractured internally. And I think that's always been the case, but I think it's far more pronounced now. The best way to understand Iran is you have a political class. Now, I think, look, people talk about moderates.
I just want to point out, while he's talking about the best way to explain Iran, it sounds like he's explaining us.
They're deeply fractured internally. And I think that's always been the case, but I think it's far more pronounced now. The best way to understand Iran is you have a political class. Now, I think, look, people talk about moderates and hardliners. They're all hardliners in Iran. But there are hardliners who understand they have to run a country and an economy, and there are hardliners that are completely motivated by theology. The hardliners...
I work in a medical building. I fully expect my job to be completely phased out within the next 5 years. Great. Yeah, let's cut more jobs.
That are motivated by theology are not just the IRGC officials, but obviously the supreme leader and the council that surrounds him. Do you believe?
Are we not driven by theology? Is Pete Hegseth not calling this a religious war? It sounds exactly like what we're doing.
That Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, is alive?
Well, we have indications that he is. Obviously, they claim that he is. We don't have evidence that he's not. But I think the unresolved questions here are, does he have the same credibility as his father did? You know, we know that for many, many years, at least I know that for many years, there's been internal debates in Iran about succession and whether it should be, hereditary based. Should it be this? There are a lot that are resistant to that. Does he have the clerical credentials to actually act as supreme leader? Is he actually making the decisions, or is there somebody standing in his stead who's basically controlling 90% of it and is the one actually making decisions on his behalf?
Again, why is any of this important to know? Like, why is this important? We have to go to war for this?
We don't know the answers to these questions.
Reports do indicate Iran has offered to open the straits, but they want to delay conversations about their nuclear program. Would this be acceptable to the Trump administration?
Well, again, I'm not going to speculate about the president's decision-making on this matter. Suffice it to say that the nuclear question is the reason why we're in this in the first place. If Iran was just a radical country run by radical people, but, it'd still be a problem. But they are revolutionary. In essence, they seek to expand and export their revolution.
Israel is currently expanding and exporting their resolution, and they are a nuclear power. And we let them do it. We help them do it. We are a country who expands. We are a revolutionary country who expands and moves into other countries as well. Sounds like us, sounds like Israel. It's just bad when other people do exactly what we do.
Not just what they do in Iran. That's why they're with Hezbollah in Lebanon. That's why they've supported Hamas. That's why they've supported the militias in Iraq.
Which is why we support the IDF. We're doing far more of that. Like, where's Iran invading, by the way? Where were they? Well, they could have started the war and then helped the 30,000 protesters who were murdered before they were murdered. That number's made up, by the way. Station. There's no evidence that there were 30,000 people murdered.
They don't just seek to dominate Iran, they seek to dominate the region. And imagine that with a nuclear weapon. Look what they've...
Do they? Do they seek to dominate the region? Is Iran invading anywhere? Can you guys point to a place that Iran was invading? I'm not an expert here. Is anybody at some point going to show us where Iran was invading?
Done with the Straits. Great example. The Straits is basically the equivalent of an economic nuclear weapon that they're trying to use against the world. And they're bragging about it. They're putting up billboards in Tehran bragging about how they can hold 25% or 20% of the world's energy hostage.
Didn't we do that with Venezuela? Didn't we do that with the Panama Canal? Didn't we do that when we seized Venezuelan tankers? Don't we do that when we put embargoes on places like Cuba? Oh, so you're just doing exactly what we do? Ooh.
Imagine if those same people had access to a nuclear weapon. They would.
Yeah, I do know enough about. I know some about Iran. Just tell me what I'm getting wrong there, Scott. If you're an expert, great, but just tell me what I'm getting wrong here.
Hold the whole region hostage.
Do you believe the Iranians are serious about making a deal?
I think the Iranians are serious about getting themselves out of the mess that they're in. All the problems Iran had, they had riots a few months ago, and these were economic riots. All the problems that Iran had before the start of this conflict are still in place, and most of them are worse. And now
yeah, because you're bombing them. That doesn't help.
Have half the missiles, none of the factories, and no Navy.
If there is no deal, what comes next?
Well, again, that's the president's decision to make. I would start out by reminding everybody that the level of...
We only seize oil tankers if they are dark tankers with no registration or proof of where and when that oil came from. Not true. But also, why do we get to do that? How the fuck we're in charge of international waters? We can just steal other people's boats if they don't register? With who? Register with who? We don't own the world.
Sanctions on Iran are extraordinary. The pressure on Iran is extraordinary. And I think more can be brought to bear. But I hope that in the aftermath of this conflict, the whole world's eyes have been opened to the threat Iran poses.
I know that regime change is not a goal of the Trump administration, but do you see a scenario in which the actions of the United States and Israel lead to regime change?
Well, I think, look,
The dollar owns the world? Yeah, for sure, dude. For sure. The dollar owns guys, the dollar owns the world. It doesn't even make sense. You're just talking about that they use it as like a reserve currency. That doesn't mean that. So if the dollar is used as a reserve currency, then the United States can seize oil tankers. Got it. Okay.
Change is something that has to happen from within. But changing the regime, I know it looks like a wordplay, is something that pressure can bring about. In essence, one thing is to change the people in charge or their ideology, but another thing is to modify.
Thank you, Damien. Brittany says you're right. Pizza rolls suck.
Their behavior. At the end of the day, even though they are radicals, there are still people in the Iranian system that every single day, behind every decision they make, they weigh the costs and they weigh the benefits. And we have to make sure that the costs of all the nefarious things they are doing outweigh the benefits.
What are the nefarious things? I'll stop for a second. What are the nefarious things that the Iranians are doing? It kind of does. All oil is being traded by the dollar, correct? No, incorrect, actually. In fact, there are massive gold exchanges that are happening right now. The BRICS countries are trading oil, and Iran is trading oil in the Chinese yuan. So, no, not correct, unless they try to Saddam Hussein and bypass America, which they're absolutely doing. So, no. I'm so misinformed. Which part of that was wrong? Iran's not asking people to pay for oil in the Chinese yuan. People aren't exchanging gold for the yuan right now. Well, yes, before BRICS. Oh yeah. Well, guess what? It's after BRICS right now. Sorry, I'm living in reality. Yeah, but once upon a time it was the case. Yeah. Don't tell me I'm misinformed, please, and then get it wrong. We're not talking about before BRICS, dude. Did BRICS exist when we seized those oil tankers? Does BRICS exist now? Did BRICS exist before we bombed Iran? Did BRICS exist before before Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz? Now you're just backing out of this. You call me stupid and then back out of it this way? Just own it. Just own what you're saying. You're wrong. We don't have the right to seize oil tankers in international waters. Then you're like, well, technically we do because the dollar. No, we technically don't. That doesn't mean that we get to seize oil tankers. Then you're like, well, is all oil traded in the dollar? No. Oh, well, it used to be. Just admit that you were wrong. I get things wrong. Just say, yeah, I was wrong. We don't have any right to seize tankers. This is hypocritical by Marco Rubio to say, look what Iran is doing, when it's literally exactly what we're doing.
What they are doing. This is the reason why the blockade is in place. The blockade is not a blockade against shipping. It's a blockade against Iranian shipping because they cannot be the sole beneficiaries of an illegal, unlawful, and unjustified system of tolling and control in the Straits.
How do you walk?
Robert, you can call me a know-it-all if you want. Just say that I'm wrong. I admit that I'm wrong when I'm wrong. You're too dumb for this conversation. I'm right. He just admitted that I was right, and it makes you mad. I'm sorry that your feelings get hurt when, like, the dick riding of Donald Trump doesn't work out. I'm sorry that Marco Rubio is sitting here in front of the nation and just pointing out blatant hypocrisy. And you're like, I don't like it because I root for America. If we stopped being fucking assholes, maybe other people wouldn't be fucking assholes towards us. Maybe we don't get to just bomb people for doing what we do. Maybe we don't get to kill civilians for other countries doing exactly what the fuck we're doing. Maybe we're the fucking problem.
No, we can't be. It can't be us.
The line between targeting infrastructure in Iran that hurts the
Who runs Hormuz? Girls. I think that's who it is.
Regime, but doesn't hurt the civilian population that you are trying to win over?
Well, the first thing is always intent. Our desire is not to hurt the people of Iran. We have no problem with the people of Iran.
Yeah, except for the people that we murder. We didn't mean to murder those people. Who cares? You did. And for what reason? Why the fuck are we bombing Iran? I'll ask you guys that again. We've been in the Middle East region for how long? Yeah, we shouldn't be. We should pull the fuck out. This is our mess to handle. No, it's not. It's not our mess to handle. It's Israel's. We need to get the fuck out.
God damn, that's some. You went so quickly. You went so quickly from the United States runs everything to we need to be cucks for Israel. Just like immediately shifted. Why have we been in the Middle East? Because we keep getting dragged into shit we have no business being in. We didn't need to do anything with Iran. We didn't have to do shit. They weren't coming after us. Where did Iran attack us? In the Middle East. Should we leave? Yeah, sure. Maybe don't invade other countries and we won't be attacked. Make up your mind, man. Are we the world power or are we Israel's bitch? No, it's not Israel? Oh, okay. Yeah, but who gave us the intelligence? Okay, tell me then. If it's not Israel, can you show me the intelligence that says they were close to a nuclear weapon? Where did that intelligence come from? Israel. It's not them. It's totally not them. We're the ones that caused the coup with Britain? Britain? Fucking Britain? My brother in Christ. We bombed Iran. What the fuck are you talking about? How are you getting everything wrong? There's no way you're real. Yeah, call. You message GenDub1 on Discord. You can come up here because holy fucking shit, it seems like you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, Britain. What does Britain have to do with anything we're talking about right now? You sound, whether you're an Israel simp or not, you're sitting here pretending that like we need to be in this war. You come up and justify this war for me, please. I would appreciate that. Nobody's been willing to do it. All right, keep going.
Iran. Frankly, we wish the voices of the people of Iran were heard, as opposed to having 30 and 40,000 of them murdered in the streets. And so our targets
that's a made-up number.
Will always be things that support the regime directly. Obviously, there might be a road or a plant or a factory somewhere.
Have you looked up Iran's issues in the past 100 years? Hey, I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. Every fucking country has issues. Have you looked at China? Have you looked at Russia? Have you looked at India? Have you looked at Pakistan? Have you looked at North Korea? Have you looked at Argentina? Have you looked at Venezuela? Yeah, why aren't we bombing them? Because Israel doesn't need us to bomb them. That's why. The only country that does bad shit that we bomb just happens to be the one that Israel has a problem with. It's not Israel. Yes, we're not the world's police. It's not our job to go out there and bomb the fuck out of people because they've got beef with Israel. If we were honest about, like, why were we, who drug us to Iraq? Whose shitty intelligence was that? Was that Israel? Yeah. Whose shitty intelligence told us to go to fucking Afghanistan to get a guy that started in Saudi Arabia and we found in fucking Pakistan? And we were in Afghanistan for like 15 years. For what reason? Israel. Yeah, bro, we are so cucked to Israel. Well, that's our fight. It shouldn't be. It didn't need to be our fight. Why'd we go to, what was Desert Storm about? I'm sorry, did Saddam Hussein come over here to the United States and attack us? No. Who had a problem with Saddam Hussein? Israel. Why? Because they wanted to be the economic power of the Middle East and they were doing pretty well? Yeah. And then Israel's like, oh, it's about the mistreatment of the people of Iraq. We care so much about the people of Iraq that we need to invade. And then they just do a genocide on the Palestinians. Oh, this is different. This is very different than the way that Saddam Hussein was treating the Kurds. It's very different. These are bad guys over here. Saddam Hussein, if he does bad things, oh, the Iranians killed some of their own people. That's so bad, we must invade. Genocide 200,000 people in Palestine. They deserved it. Jesus Christ, man. Get your dick out of Israel. Just take it out for a second. This is embarrassing.
That also benefits the economy, but its primary role is to benefit the regime and its security apparatus.
I'd like to shift now to Lebanon. There are historic efforts underway to try and reach an agreement between...
Don said, here's just another 5 to piss you off, Robert. Don said, shut up, Robert. Oh, Robert's getting after it. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate that.
Between Israel...
Robert's an excellent fundraiser.
...and their neighbor to the north. Where do things stand in those negotiations?
Well, it's a very unique ceasefire because Lebanon and Israel are not at war. Israel's
Yeah, Israel just invaded the motherfuckers. Lebanon was just chilling. And then Israel invaded. We're like, Iran is expanding, even though they're not expanding. And we're just ignoring that Israel invaded Lebanon. Cool. They're just bombing the fuck out of Lebanon. Yeah, Israel's the good guys. It's those Judeo-Christian values.
is with Hezbollah. Unfortunately, Hezbollah happens to be inside of Lebanon and conducting attacks against Israel. So I think what I've perceived from this, and it's been very successful, is both the Lebanese and the Israelis seek peace.
Mr. Secretary, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The secretary also spoke.
Okay, well, if you don't like the word genocide, Wayne, then just explain to me the difference here. Why is it a problem for Iran to kill their own people, but it's not a problem when Israel kills a bunch of Palestinians? You want to explain? If you don't like the word genocide, let's take that out. Hundreds of thousands of people dead. It's fine when Israel does it. So last I saw, it was like 7,500 dead in Iran that have been confirmed. It could be higher than that. I haven't checked in a couple weeks. That is a big problem. I mean, it's the same shit you guys do with these Zionists do with October 7th. October 7th was bad. But they're like, oh, this bad thing happened on October 7th, so let's go ahead and kill 200,000 people. It's fair. It's just American arrogance, man. We think we do no wrong. We're not the good guys. Thanks, Robert. I appreciate that. Purdy says, fuck you, Robert, though. Thank you. W in the chat for Purdy for the $50 sent through Cash App. I appreciate that. Amber said, did you see Trump shared photos of AI-generated females from Iran to justify his shit? I mean, they were tortured. No, I did not see that. Oh, my God. Good Lord, he's dumb. He is just so fucking remarkably dumb. Why do we have to keep pretending like this guy hasn't lost his mind? Why are we doing this? I'm going to say it, and nobody's even going to defend it. They're just going to say Joe Biden. But do we honestly have to keep doing this? Iran killed 59,000 of their own people first. Oh, now it's 59,000? It was 30, now it's 40, now it's 59. The confirmed number is somewhere around like 7,500. It is. God, it would be nice to be Donald Trump for a day, to just have an army of dipshits that just repeat literally everything you say. 7,500. Who's counting? Well, I'm counting. I mean, I don't think it's a good idea to murder your own people. I'm not a fan of that. But if we're going to start going in and invading every country that murders its own people, we got a lot of wars to fight. How come the only ones we ever invade happen to be the ones that Israel's beefing with? That's all I'm asking. I think it's a pretty fair question. Performative. No, I said it cavalier. Well, I'm sorry for saying it cavalierly. I didn't mean to say it cavalierly. I'm mocking the number. I mean, this is what Trump has created. This is like what this type of hyperbole has created. This happens all the time. Trump says a number that's made up. We're like, okay, that number's made up. And then we get to the real number and you're like, see, you don't even care about the number. It's like, no, we were just addressing the number. Like, if we're going to have a conversation about what the Iranian government did to its own people, let's get the number right. But the further point is, if a government kills its own people, does the United States go in and act as the world's police? We don't seem to, unless Israel tells us to. You know, we don't seem to do this other places very often, do we? When's the last place we went in to liberate people that wasn't Israel dragging us into it? Can you guys give me some examples? Right. What is this? I think the problem is with people like this is that they are stupid and that they have no idea. Yeah. True. Is old boy coming up here? Sorry, I forgot your name. I'm bad with names, but hopefully you're coming up here in a minute. All right, there's Marco Rubio. Let's move on. Maybe we can get this. And yet you were okay with Ukraine? We're not in Ukraine, Todd. We didn't bomb Russia. Todd. We're not part of the Ukraine war. Todd. If all we were doing was arming Israel, I would have a problem still with Israel, but there's a difference. Ukraine got invaded. We fund Israel to invade other places. Iran struck second. Israel struck first. I have no problem with funding Ukraine. None. No, I said we're not there. I don't have a problem with funding their defense. It's an agreement that we've had for a long time. The reason that all of these European countries, and frankly, the reason that Ukraine doesn't have nuclear weapons is because we promised Ukraine that we would act as a check against Russia. We made that deal to stop nuclear proliferation. And so if you want to say the same thing about Iran, like if we want to compare that, we had an agreement with Iran. The agreement with Iran was, we get to inspect your nuclear program and you don't get to have nuclear weapons. And just like we did in Ukraine, the United States basically said, and we'll keep Israel at bay. Israel, a nuclear power, they have nukes, and we're obviously not going to do anything about that because Daddy Israel. We said, we'll protect you, Iran, but you can't get nukes. But we're bigger than Israel, and we'll stand in the way. And then Trump got in office, and then the Adelsons were like, hey, what if we paid you a bunch of money and then you pulled out of that agreement? And then we'll talk about how they're now, like, this was so predictable. If you are Iran, if you are the leader of Iran, let's just pretend that you don't jack off to the stars and stripes. Just pretend for a second that you live in Iran. And you have Israel, who is your neighbor, and they have nuclear weapons pointed at you at all times. They've infiltrated your government. They try and manufacture uprisings in your country. You guys are enemies. You know that. And you had all this protection so that Israel couldn't nuke you. And you trusted that the United States, and not just the United States, but the UN and NATO countries would stand in the way of Israel nuking you. And suddenly that agreement is gone and you have no more protection. Would you just sit there? You wouldn't build up your military? Again, just pretend you're Iranian, and you can pretend that they are white and Christian if it helps you at all. But just pretend that you're Iran and you have nukes pointed at you at all times. You're not going to build up your military? You're not going to enrich uranium? Whether you want to use a nuclear weapon or not, you are safer if you have nuclear weapons or the threat of a nuclear weapon, because then Israel might be slow to use those weapons against you. Every one of us would have done exactly what Iran did. And now we're pretending that Iran did something outrageous. That's what you would do. Israel wants the destruction of Iran, Todd. Like, you don't know that. If they want the destruction of Israel so bad, why haven't they been bombing Israel? Why did they always wait to bomb Israel after Israel bombs them? But you would have done exactly what Iran did. Yeah, I think Todd's the one that we were. Was it Todd? Is it Todd that we were waiting for? No, it was P for P. I think is who it was, wasn't it? Are you not coming up, P for P? I thought you were coming up here. Did I stop this whole thing for you for no reason? You're not going to come up? You said bet? Wasn't it you that said bet? Are you just arguing? You said you were going to come educate me, and then you're just arguing in the chat still? Man, that's disappointing. I thought you were better than that. Okay. I want to get to, let's go to drop site. Because we're hearing from our leaders all the time. Donald Trump literally every day is like, Iran is begging for a deal, and then every day Iran is like, we're not begging for a deal. Fuck you. Yeah, mute P for P. Yeah, mute P for P. If he's not going to come up here, if he's going to derail the show and say he's coming up here, just mute him for the rest of the live. You can come up here and talk, or you can be gone. That was annoying. I don't like that. I don't like to be teased. I was trying to get fucked, P for P. Don't tease me like that. Who's going to invade the U.S. for unaliving us? I don't know. I think it's China, isn't it? Is it China? Is it the Russians? One of those. I think they're invading us. You liar. You love being teased. All right. Well, anyways, the problem that we really have with this war is one, Donald Trump is just lying. He's lying over and over again. We do not have control over the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is not asking for a ceasefire. In that last interview, Marco Rubio just admitted it. They just admitted that Iran is saying, like, hey, we'll open the Strait of Hormuz, but we're not going to negotiate the nuclear thing. Like, if you want to do a ceasefire to open the Strait of Hormuz, and then we're going to demand reparations from you, that's our starting point. That's why we don't have a deal, because Iran is saying no. And Donald Trump, like, they've called his bluff, and Trump's in a bad position now. Nobody wants us to go to war with Iran. Our only option here is that now, like with Trump, he either has to walk away or he's got to like invade or start using nuclear weapons. That's no joke. And it's going to get him, if he did that, he's done. He's going to get impeached. He might get thrown in jail. At that point, it's just war crimes. So that's why this Trump keeps moving the timeline over and over, because they've called his bluff and they've backed him into a corner. And Trump has historically always thought, I can bully people, I can bully people, I can bully people, and eventually they'll give in. But the world has figured out that Donald Trump, like all bullies, is a pussy-ass bitch. All bullies are bitches. That's why Canada's like, fuck you, dude. We're going to do trade somewhere else. That's why Mexico's like, fuck you, dude. We're doing trade somewhere else. That's why the European Union's like, fuck you, dude. We're doing trade somewhere else. The whole world is figured out that Donald Trump's kind of a bitch and that he doesn't have the support that he says he does here at home. There's not enough of you that support him. The GOP will turn on him. It's not you. The members of Congress will turn on Donald Trump if he escalates this war. He's fucked. He's backed into a corner. And Iran knows it, which is why Trump keeps giving deadlines and pushing them back. And every time he pushes them back, he goes, Iran called and begged for us to push it back. And Iran's like, no, we didn't. We're not even talking to him. He knows he knows what we want. We didn't say any of that shit. And then they put out a rap video that's awesome. And then Trump puts out some AI-generated video of him holding a gun like, oh, I'm tough. It's embarrassing for some of you to still think that like Trump's not getting absolutely obliterated. Everybody in the world is like, oh yeah, he's getting fucked. And he's going to have to just walk away. I think that's how this ends. I think he's literally just going to have to quit and walk away and try and spin it. Bradley says all countries deserve nuclear energy, but not all deserve nuclear weapons. Sure. Like I would love to get rid of all nuclear weapons, but I will settle for no nuclear proliferation. I'll settle for that. But that should include Israel. I don't know why Israel's the only country that we just allow that, like as one of our allies, to just have nukes that they don't give us any information from. They stole the technology from us. We have no oversight on their nuclear weapons. We're just like, that's fine. You guys get to play by different rules, but we're not cucks to Israel. Alberto says, thank you for your great work. I appreciate that, Alberto. Jen, did you even get a message from P4P? Did he even try? Jen might be sleeping. We'll check in a second. All right, let's play this from Drops Ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, he's messaging me right now.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll start this video.
That's what I was going to say. If we were talking rational thing here, that would be a rational path that deserves to be explored if that can get all of this off the table. Because the Trump administration has said from the outset, and even though the objectives have shifted around, one of the things that's always there is that Iran can't have a nuke. Iran can't have a nuke ad infinitum. So if you can get that solved, that could potentially provide a way out to give some kind of face to Trump to get this off the table if that could be arranged. But then you have to have some kind of confidence from the Iranian side that will come anywhere close to living up to any kind of a deal that would involve the Russians. And I would imagine, and you tell me, I would imagine that Russia would almost equally have to have some confidence that the U.S., because the last thing I think they want to do is have egg on their face that they're going down a negotiating path and all of a sudden it collapses because we go Trump on them again. I mean, how do you see that dynamic?
No, it's total crazy town, Danny. I mean, in fact, some of the Iranians I'm talking to, I mean, much of their negotiating team and their leadership have PhDs in a variety of disciplines. And sometimes when I'm talking to Iranian officials, they sort of say, look, it's dealing with people like Steve Witkoff, who's a total ignoramus when it comes to the technical issues here, or Jared Kushner. The Iranians just view him as, you might as well have Benjamin Netanyahu sitting at the table.
Hey, wait, why are we? Yeah, why Witkoff and Kushner? Why are those our negotiators? Just want to take a stab at that? They're not respected, and they have no experience. Why are those our negotiators?
To the point where the Iranians said, they say we're in disarray. We sat there with them in Islamabad, and we openly witnessed that there was a split between J.D. Vance on the one hand Jared Kushner.
They're working for Israel.
And Steve Witkoff, on the other hand. In fact, the Iranians are turning it around and saying, you say we're in disarray. Look at you. Look what's playing out in public. You have a president of the United States that can't even tell you who's on an airplane that he supposedly dispatched.
Honestly, it should be Rubio. I'm not a fan of Rubio, but if anybody has experience for these negotiations, it should be Rubio. Rubio is the only member of this cabinet with like bona fides. I think a lot of us are going to disagree with him, but like he has experience. He's been doing this a long time. He has a lot of credibility with foreign policy. I think you're right at that. I think you're right. I would rather somebody else, but if there's anybody in this cabinet that's qualified to have these negotiations, it's Rubio. He's bona fide.
He's literally saying to the press, JD is on a plane.
Yeah, of course you don't trust him, but we're not going to trust anybody in this administration. But it's still better.
Plane, and it's completely false and demonstrably so. So, on this issue of Russia, though, I think this is actually really important for us to examine. I think if there was real negotiation, you would see the Russians come into play, perhaps even the Chinese. I hear a lot of Iranians talking about a whole other sort of semi-secret, not very public track where the Iranians are doing a lot of talking to the Chinese. The Omanis, for decades, have been the trusted mediator between the U.S. and Iran on the nuclear issue. The Omanis got pushed out because the U.S.
Iran should ask for Obama. Yeah. We'll only negotiate with Obama. That'd be incredible. Trump would lose it.
The Omanis as a cover to do the surprise launch of the war on February 28th. The Omani foreign minister comes to D.C. a day before the war, and he meets with J.D. Vance, and he comes out and he says, and Trump and others, and he comes out and he says, I think we're heading toward a reasonable deal. And then they turn around and they launch this war. So they really spit in the face of one of the most trusted mediators on this. But Arachi was just in Oman. He's now in Russia. It could be that the Iranians are preparing
or Mamdani. Yeah. Ask for AOC and Ilhan Omar and Obama and Mamdani. Get the whole crew.
To say, look, let's bring serious adults back to the table to have real talks. But the bottom line here, Danny, and I'll reiterate it, what we're seeing is a total pyramid of lies being constructed in terms of the narrative. It is a psychological operation that is being fed to Trump-aligned media that is suggesting that the Iranians are sort of on the verge of capitulation. What has happened here is the Iranians are saying
for the Pope.
Okay, you want to be erratic? You want to keep lying? Here are the rules of the game. First thing, that military blockade needs to be lifted. Then we can talk about a solution for the Strait of Hormuz. Then if you're serious and you're willing to send not real estate golf buddies, but actual technical experts, we're willing to put everything on the table for a negotiation. In the event that doesn't happen, Russia, China, and other nations in the region, Iran wants to make alternative arrangements with them that is a parallel to sort of what's happening with the challenge to the supremacy of the US dollar. I think Iran is also trying to repair some relations in the Persian Gulf. All that goes up in flames, though, if the U.S. and Israel start bombing again. What I'm hearing from Iranians is we're going to see potential sabotage of undersea cables, which could mean huge disruption of internet service, huge disruption of commerce. Anyone can go and look it up on open source. What percentage of internet traffic actually goes through these undersea cables? It's quite significant if you look at it. An IRGC-affiliated news organization published...
This is kind of new. There are just cables laid all throughout the ocean for internet. And Iran, this has been something, there was a threat assessment report. I don't remember if it was during the Biden administration or if it was early in the Trump administration, but there was a threat assessment report about a plan that they had uncovered of the Iranians, allegedly, where their plan was to go through and drudge up these lines in the ocean and basically destroy internet communication across the entire world. If we want to keep calling their bluff, it seems like they have a plan to be able to do it. China did hit the cables early in his administration. Yeah, I remember that, but I think there was some, I don't remember if it was Gabbard's threat assessment or if it was in the Biden administration, but there was allegedly a plan by Iran to do the same thing.
maps of the undersea cables recently in the region, with a not too thinly veiled implication that those may be targeted in the event the US and Israelis resume the war. The Iranians have said, if you attack our infrastructure, we're going to hit 4 times the number of targets in the Persian Gulf as you attack inside of Iran. The stakes are very, very high here. And Donald Trump.
Brother, we're not talking about Donald Trump. Shut the fuck up. Why are you you're the only person talking about Donald Trump right now. We're talking about Iran. It's so funny to see the Trump derangement syndrome in real time. We haven't talked about Trump hardly at all today. It's been mostly not Trump. And yet here you are. All you think about is Trump. Dude, just fire one off. Just put up his picture. Maybe it's the one where he's got the fist in the air and you can imagine that fist is in your ass. And then fire one off and come back to us and you can talk about this war with Iran.
Trump is playing with fire. Not just with...
That's actually, we should probably sell that. We should probably sell a Donald Trump fight ass fister as a sex toy that we can sell to the MAGA folks. And just a reminder. If you come to Bill's Auto Service, we will throw your tires back at your face 13 times. 13 times? Blue Chew. Can you get an erection anymore with all that rage? No. And I'm tired of you making us look like whiny little bitches. I'm tired of it. I would like if people looked at America and said, hey, these people are skeptical of their government. We try and be like, hey, we're not just lining up to suck the dick. I've been stretching my mouth. I've been preparing for this. Was it Kash Patel? Put it in there. Pete Hegseth? Put it in there. Donald Trump? Put it in there. Blue Chew. Give me all the dicks. All right, brother. I hope that made you come.
Regional security, but with the global economy and also with the standing of the U.S. in the world.
All right. It's because these MAGA folks have a shrine for this dude. This is what happens when 2 chromosomes that close together are made. They're just bumping into it. Those are just 2 brain cells occasionally bumping into each other. Huh? Trump? 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 All right. Jen, is old boy coming up here? That's my president. That is my president, unfortunately. That sucks.
I'm working on it.
And just to once again prove, where is that? What was the fist? What was the was it Booker? Just to prove that we can make fun of Democrats here too. Was it Cory Booker that was saying, give me the fist? Yeah, it was this.
Gonna be a sound
We'll
drop?
show this for a second because we're just going to watch it. Shout out Majority Report. Look, I'm biased and I'm probably arrogant, and I like to think I do a good job, but nobody does a better job covering politics than the Majority Report. So shout out to them. And if anybody from the Majority Report sees this, let's hang out. I just want to be your friend.
I want the Michigan fist.
That's going to be a sound drop.
I want the Michigan fist.
That's going to be a sound drop.
Yeah. Give me that Michigan fist. I got to add that to the soundboard there. That's great. Yeah, that's right. Emma, Sam, we love you. I love all of them. I love Matt. All of them. Just can we hang out, please? All right, let's get to Pete Hegseth testifying before Congress today. Here he is first with Adam Smith and Adam Smith's opening statement. And Adam Smith is a thorn in Pete Hegseth's. Oh, nope.
He's there. So
just a reminder so that Jen doesn't beat you up. What's left in the gift goal there? Just what is it? 95. And Jen said if we get to 450, she will share her DMs from her Tinder. So remember, and I'm not going to remind you because we get in these debates, but if you could help us knock out our gift goal and then more, if you want those DMs, please send those and I'll read them at the end when we're done. And we got, what's his name? Is his name Kirby?
that's what it is in Discord, yeah.
His name is
Kirby. Where'd it go?
Oh, Kirby left. Maybe not.
Okay, let me find out more. Hold on.
All right, well, I'll play this video while you find Kirby. Go from Adam Smith.
What we need to hear today is what is going to work. We have 50,000 troops in the region who are still at risk. How are those tactical victories going to translate into some sort of strategic success? And by the way, this is one of the things that realism recognizes. You can win a whole lot of little small battles and lose the war, which is why you don't stumble into the war in the first place. But at the same time, we're doing all of this on our own as we increasingly push away all of our allies. Sometimes just because we want to do what we want to do, we don't want to have to consult them. Sometimes just gratuitously insulting them. I mean, in the middle of this war where we were asking NATO to come join us, the president took time out to insult President Macron and his wife. Okay, how is that helping us to try and belittle everybody in the world? And I also, for the people who are criticizing NATO over this war, I will remind people that NATO is a defensive alliance. What that means is every country in it pledges to defend a country if attacked. And when we were attacked on 9/11, that's what NATO did. They put in Article 5, and for 20 years they fought beside us. NATO is not if any one of the countries decides to unilaterally and unwisely start a war precipitously that everyone else is supposed to join. That's not the way it works. So berating and belittling our allies after we did that and driving them ever further away from us, how is that realistic? Not only are we going to try to reshape the Middle East, but we're going to do it alone while we're pushing everybody away from us. And then we have...
Great point. All right, Kirby, let me jump in here. Kirby, while I'm popping over, if you'll just turn off the stream in your headphones, because we'll get some feedback there, and you can just listen through here. Let me head over. Kirby, what's up?
Jay, how we doing?
Is that your real accent? Is that real?
Yeah, it's me. No, I'm just playing around. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm all right. What up, chat?
What chat says? What's up? Let me read this too. Pumpkin said for the
me, bro.
Well, you riled him up. Let me real quick. Pumpkin said for the goal. Hey, howdy said I want those Tinder chats. All right. So I don't remember where we left off, but I think you were going to correct me on some things. Is that right?
So basically, I just wanted to talk a little bit Iran. You know, I know a lot of people, I personally didn't really understand this about their history and where we tie in the last about 100 years and all the coups that have taken place and everything that's happened. This is not just a 2-decade-old thing, 4-decade-old thing. You know, this is goes a lot further. This is CIA. This is, you know, big shit. I don't know if Mossad was implicated in this, but I know MI6 was.
In what?
Basically
implicated in just like messing with Iran?
In this 1953 CIA coup,
Yeah.
overthrowing, you know, the leader. And then eventually the 1979 hostage crisis, which, you know, has led to basically, you know, death to America rhetoric for the longest, which is understandable.
I don't know if we could say that was the hostage crisis that caused that. It could have been our constant bombing and murder of people in the Middle East.
Yeah. When did we start bombing them? Do you know?
Iran? When was the first, or just the Middle East in general? I don't know the first time we had like a military conflict with Iran. Do you know what year?
Don't.
Okay.
All I know is basically
the question is like, why are we there now?
That's a good question. I do not agree with what Trump's been doing. I do not agree with him just showing up with boats, thinking that it's okay. I don't agree with him putting a line in between the strait, knowing that
Well, what
they
about
can't
bombing
get their
them?
oil in and out.
Did you agree with bombing them? Like
Hell
Operation? Okay, so I don't
Absolutely
understand.
not.
So what's our disagreement here? Because it seems like the disagreement was you said it wasn't Israel. They basically admitted, Marco Rubio basically admitted, like, hey, Israel said they were going to do this, and so we went with them because they're our ally. I was surprised that you disagreed with that.
That whole Israel thing is absolutely, I would say it's the worst issue right now. You know, I don't agree with Israel. I don't agree with anything they're doing. Completely destabilizing the area. They claim to want to talk. They claim to want to do these things, but then they go back to bombing. Is it right that when you've got 10 factions bombing you, we create peace and then one of the faction bombs you and you decide to go back to bombing? No, it's not okay. So I believe that they wanted real peace. They would have stayed peaceful and not bombed.
Well, this is this is confusing for what you were saying in the chat then. Like, I'm going to be honest, because what I was saying is
Well,
that
this is where it ties in.
Okay, go ahead.
I believe we have an obligation to be out there in a way. I don't believe in bombing in boats, but I do believe we have an obligation to stabilize that region.
Why?
Given we've been the ones to really destabilize it, But do
didn't
I
we
think
just
that we should show
destabilize?
up with Trump's?
But aren't we destabilizing it? Like it was more stable before we bombed Iran.
That is true. Well, that is true because they had bombings and now they have outages and now they have all types of problems. I do
Well,
agree
and
with that.
Iran
And
is
there's 90 million
and
people there.
Iran now is counterattacking countries who have U.S. bases and are U.S. allies, and then you have Israel, who's just like, "Hey, everybody, look at Iran while we fucking invade Lebanon." And oh,
Yeah,
by the way,
that
we're also
blew
going
my
to
mind,
like
too.
all the way. We're just going to keep bombing Gaza, and oh, we're going to have like roaming gangs of Zionists going and murdering Palestinians.
I'll tell you what,
we are the bad.
sometimes
Like we are the bad guy. This is the part that I wish Americans would wake the fuck up to. We're the bad guy. We're worse than Russia.
Yep.
We're worse than China. It is us and Israel, 1 and 2, as the worst countries and the most like invasive species in the world. We are causing all of these problems.
I do agree. When it comes down to talks and negotiations, it can only go so far. It seems like war is just bred within the human gene. I don't understand. It's like we can't have peace on my street, let alone,
You don't have peace on your street? What's going on your
no,
street?
no, just the bullshit. Everybody's got their own opinions, and people can't, work with each other. Everybody's got either your Trump or your Biden sign or your Kamala sign. It's
Okay,
like,
but
and there's
only
no,
but Biden and Harris aren't the ones causing division. That's Trump.
yeah, that is true. But I do believe Kamala did say something about Iran being a threat as well.
Yeah, well, she's
And the last 10
and where did she
presidents
and where
have
did
done
she
that.
yeah, and where did all those presidents get that information?
That's a good question.
Israel.
Okay, see, now that's okay. I was going to try to explain something to you that I I'm not the biggest in politics, but the more I delve into, the more I understand what is going on. And that's like I had a position on Israel. Israel is so tiny. Israel should be able to defend itself. Israel should be able to do this, and that. Well, yeah, they should, but destabilizing the region's different.
Defend themselves from
Creating
what?
economic collapse.
But what
taking
defend
people's
themselves
land.
from what? Who's attacking Israel?
Well, I know, the Middle East is probably right now.
Who?
A bunch of different factions.
Who?
Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis.
When did they start attacking Israel?
That's a good question.
After
I know
after
October
they
7th
bombed
kicked
after
it
they
off.
bombed that was Hamas.
Yeah, October 7th kind of sparked the fire, but there was definitely a bunch of coals roaming underneath before.
Yeah, and part of that is because Israel had legitimately an open air prison. Benjamin Netanyahu was trying to keep the people of Palestine divided. He was funding Hamas. It's crazy to me that like the same people who are talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center like don't recognize that the thing they're accusing the Southern Poverty Law Center of doing that they're not doing is legitimately exactly what Benjamin Netanyahu did with Hamas. Like Netanyahu's a war criminal. He's a madman. He's genocidal.
Agreed.
We're on board with him. He drags us into all these wars. I gotta admit, Matt, like honestly, it was weird. Like you were a different person in the chat. Can we acknowledge that? Because it's
I'm
confusing.
a completely different person in
Okay.
chat. Listen, I can't defend myself. My comments are vague. I can't explain, and then people are hitting on me, and and I'm like trying to defend myself. I feel like I'm being attacked, and I'm sitting there like, how can I explain anything if I can't come in and talk? And then they said join the voice.
Yeah.
So I
Because it does seem
appreciate
like you
chat.
agree. It seems like you agree that Israel's the fucking problem. We're the problem. We
Israel's
should just.
100% the problem right now.
What do you think would
And
happen if we just pulled out of this?
Shit. That's a good question. Oh. Well, I'll tell you, I know Russia and
You
Iran
think
will get
Iran's gonna
stronger.
hit? You think Iran's gonna hit us if we pull out?
No.
You think Russia
No.
is?
See, their fans aren't they're not stable enough together to create a full attack like that. So no, I don't.
Do you think
I don't see it
Russia
happening.
comes after us?
No, if they do, they're going to do it in some type of dark way where they're like trying to economically bypass us, like they try to, but they're not going to fully attack us. I agree with that.
So we're going to sit in this war because Donald Trump has an ego.
100%. And I, that's the only thing that I don't agree with is, is we have this obligation to be there in some way, but we need to create peace. We don't need to create more war. We don't need to be bombing schools. We don't need to be dropping tomahawks on people. And they're having a straight civil war in Iran right now. We come in and bomb them. Of course, they're going to say death to America.
Can you think of a time like in recent history where there was, there wasn't a bunch of problems between Iran and Israel, like some years when there weren't problems?
No, and I'm not 100% sure.
What about after we signed the Iranian nuclear agreement? Were there a lot of problems after that?
I don't know. See, I wasn't into politics then. It's been in more 2020s for me. Like I'm pretty new.
Would you be surprised to know that it was pretty peaceful?
Yeah.
Why do you think Trump pulled us? Why do you think Trump pulled us out of it?
Well, to your point, I would tell you that when you look up, you go Google something, and it doesn't say 2017 Iran did this. I think we're okay.
No, but why do you think Trump pulled us out of that?
Trump has his own agenda. That dude is, I don't know what's up with him. It's like,
do you think it's possible that his agenda, he doesn't have his own agenda, and the people that were giving him a lot of money convinced him to pull out of that?
Yeah, and I
do you know who those people were?
Yeah, that Mary chick and
the
and
Adelsons.
whoever else.
The Adelsons who are loyal to Israel. Sheldon Adelson.
I just learned about her like a month ago or less.
And her
I also
husband who
just
joined
found
the
out
IDF, loyal to Israel.
Travel told me that Israel wasn't in NATO. I said, what? We're defending them like this, and they're not even in fucking NATO?
Crazy, right?
No, I'm pretty mind blown with a lot of the shit that's happened recently. But that's where my point tied in was like, we do have some type of obligation to be there. We need to show up with boats and bombs. No. Did we defend our military assets? Yes. But that doesn't mean to bomb other people.
Yeah, we defend them from what? They weren't being hit.
It's very similar in a way where America, it's like defend yourself. What's the difference between that and attacking someone? If someone stopped attacking you and you go to attack them, you're now officially attacking them and not defending yourself.
Yeah, America is that douchebag at the bar that punches somebody in the face because they looked at him. That's what Iran did. They looked at us. And then Israel, who are just the bitch ass Israel's like, hey, bro, they're staring you down. You can't take that shit. And Trump's like, they're staring us down. I'm going to hit them. And then we did.
I did say something in chat like Israel is the little brother that gets the two bigger brothers poking the bear at each other and then fighting for their gain.
So do you see how for us, like I don't know where you fall politically, but do you see how for us this is just like, I mean, I think we're getting to this point now, but the whole Trump derangement syndrome thing, it's been misdiagnosed forever. People are ignoring reality to support Donald Trump. This war makes
that is coming out more. It is actually coming out a lot more. I was a little bit more MAGA before I started to realize his campaigns were so vague and they didn't have policies and there was nothing.
It's just hate, right?
Yeah, it's like we're going to get the immigrants out. Well, how are you going to do that? How are you going to show us how to do that?
And why?
Right. And immigrants are very good for us. The illegals know, the criminals know, we all know that. Some illegals will be good. I've seen a lot of them work. I used to live in Vegas. Yeah. We used to hire people to help us and stuff at a fair wage. They've got to eat too, but unfortunately, I don't want to go off topic, but I don't agree with the remittances. I don't agree with them taking the money, taking it out of the economy and bringing it to a different country.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about, well.
Yeah, the remittances kind of gets me because it's they bring in about $100 billion in tax revenue, but they send out about $70 billion in remittances. So, you got to look at it like how much of this money is actually being put towards helping us. No? If you wanted to start there, that's probably not the place to start because there's so many more corrupt things going on in the government. Your tax money's not being used the right way. I'm starting to flip sides, man. I'm not.
AOC 2028.
That's a tough one. I
No,
might have
dude,
to
she's
warm up to that
brilliant.
one.
She's brilliant. You got to watch more of her. I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna finish this up. I appreciate you coming up. You're a good sport, and a lot of people don't have the courage to do that. So I appreciate you coming up, man.
For sure. I'll be back in chat, guys.
Yeah.
Jen, good to see you. Y'all take care.
You too. We'll see you. All right, let me check messages real quick. Tax the fucking rich. Yeah, that's right. Malcolm said, reminding people, Trump literally said he hates his opponents. That's true. He did say that. Check here. I do want to get to more of Hegseth stuff. Amy said, have you ever looked at who Netanyahu went to school with in PA, Massachusetts? Some current politicians and many of our wealthy. I haven't looked at that either, Amy. Will you DM me on Discord? I'm not sure. Oh, now I can fix him. All these times you told me that I couldn't fix people. For the record, for everybody, I just want you to know that when I did finally decide to date somebody, it wasn't a Republican. That's off topic, but I didn't choose somebody to fix. And I think you guys get credit for that. I think you beating that into my head for long enough worked out. Thank you, Pumpkin Jewel. Let me check Jen's here. Jennifer, thank you very much. All right, I'll update the goal and then we'll move on. Yeah, but Amy, DM me, will you? That'd be great. Romney was one of them. Thank you. I appreciate that. I honestly do. Those of you who have been around for a long time, and those of you especially that have been around like TikTok debates, I think you do feel the difference. I think we all know that there's basically almost no MAGA left. People have either disappeared or there's some who still want to discuss and are coming around to good faith. And I think they're realizing like, yeah, dude, we got duped here. I'm just reading some of these. I could never date a moderate or a Republican. Yeah, I mean, look, I've dated somebody that called themselves a Republican. By the end, they were a great person and they had good politics, right? And by the end, I don't think they called themselves a Republican anymore. It wasn't a super long relationship, but I think you can do that. Maybe did an internship with Mitt Romney after college. If that's true, I'm gonna cry. I might actually cry. Does that mean she's fixing me? Honestly, probably. Jen gets mad at me, but honestly, yeah, it's I don't talk about that often, but yeah, it's I'm not the one that needs to be doing the fixing here. I'm not the better person in that relationship. AOC hates America. If we got that for president, why does she hate America? It ain't real till she's in the chat. I think she was here earlier. She doesn't chat. She doesn't watch the show. She's not very political. Chat, we can fix Jay. You have fixed me. I need a dating app for democratic socialist atheists. That works. It was interesting, like being on dating apps, listing yourself as a liberal. There were some responses. The trouble with terms. Because she always says how bad America is. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, who said that she always says who's bad? You are bewitched. Isn't that what you want? Why wouldn't you want that out of a politician? Why wouldn't you want politicians who are focused on the stuff that needs to be fixed? Why in the world would you want a politician who's just like, America's the best always? What are they going to do then? What are you paying them for? What's the point of them being in Congress if they're just going to stand up there and tell you everything's great? I don't want to vote for anybody who's just like, we're the best. Well, hold on, Laura. There's a difference between being political and being outspoken about certain things. I would say that being political means that they may not be involved in all politics, but things that matter, yeah, political there. Yeah, maybe don't follow. Yeah, that's probably a better way to put it. They don't necessarily follow politics, but I dare you to say something about women in front of her and see how that goes. Doesn't go well. Okay, I've got that one. Let's get back to Pete Hegseth. All right. This was Rep Garamendi. This is a little bit longer, but he really went after Hegseth, and I'm so glad that this is happening to Hegseth. Hegseth is, before anything, a chronic liar. He lies all the fucking time, and he does it while he's sucking Trump's dick, which is kind of gross. And he tries to do it a lot here. But shout out to Representative Garamendi for these opening statements. I left the whole thing in there, and then I'll give you Hegseth's response to him.
Secretary and General Kane, let me begin by thanking the men and women of the United States military.
Let's start there. I need you just to note that. I want to start by thanking the men and women of the United States. Oh, shit, I forgot I didn't change it. So I want to start by thanking the men and women of the United States military. Just take a note there.
For their service and their bravery. I recognize that our service members have performed with extraordinary courage and tactical skill, and they've done incredible things that our country has asked them to. Their professionalism and selfless service are not in question and never have been. What is in question is the purposes and the strategic direction of this war. Mr. Hegseth, as Secretary of the Department of Defense, you are ultimately responsible for the conduct of the Iran war. Any unvarnished review of what is happening right now in the Middle East would reveal a geopolitical calamity, a strategic blunder resulting in worldwide economic crisis. The result of Trump's war of choice is a serious self-inflicted wound to America. It will take years and a new administration to recover from the
No, Harry, we didn't cover the King's speech. I'm probably not going to. I didn't really care.
grave damage to our standing in the world, as well as our economy and our military. We must remember that 13 Americans have been killed in action, hundreds wounded, and thousands of civilians killed, including more than 100 school children. The risk of this conflict was foreseeable. I'm certain that the Department of Defense knew that it was likely that in a war with Iran...
Did we watch the Tommy G video? I'm not sure what you're referencing, so probably not.
Iran would create an international economic crisis by blocking the Strait of Hormuz and thus stopping 20% of the world's oil. Was this existential threat considered?
Why is it always someone with low bone density complaining about Trump on YouTube Live? Why is it always some dipshit with a misspelled name who can't figure out that literally nobody is talking about Donald Trump right now? Why is it always you guys? You just show up and you're like, Donald Trump.
Apparently not. During the 60 days of Trump's Iran war, critical munitions have been expended at an alarming rate, depleting magazine levels below what is thought necessary to hold China at bay.
Sorry, real quick. Bewitched, let me ask you a question. Why didn't you leave during the Biden administration? We'll stop this for a second. When Biden was president and you guys complained, how come people didn't leave? Were you not American then? You got to stop doing this shit. This is pathetic shit by you. You're a grown, hopefully a grown-ass adult here. If you're over 18, be a fucking adult. That is such a dumb fucking thing to say. If you don't agree with me, then you have to stay. If you don't think that, or you have to leave. If you don't think America's the greatest, then leave. Stop saying shit like that. Criticize your government. That's your job. They don't need cheerleaders. It's pathetic. Just criticize your government. No matter if you voted for them or not, criticize them. And you've been here this whole time. You know that I started this show criticizing the Democrats. The very first thing we did on this show was show a video of the DNC chair, Ken Martin, and I criticized them and called them cowards, and I criticized them for the exact same reason I'm criticizing Republicans for now. Their willingness to just let AIPAC drag them into dumb shit.
It will take years and tens of billions of dollars to restock. A significant part of the necessary Navy and Marine force in the Pacific has been removed and sent to support the Iran war. Our support of Ukraine has suffered as supplies and defense systems are diverted to the Iran war. America has lost irreplaceable aircraft, radar systems, and strategic bases have been shown to be vulnerable. The continued lengthy deployment of ships, equipment, and personnel has sacrificed readiness. We know what we have lost, but what have we gained? Let's consider that the regime in Tehran is still intact with new and more radical leadership, as are Iran's ballistic missile and drone forces.
Hey, guess what, Bewitched? I support the Second Amendment too. I have a gun. Now what do you do? Now what do we do? I've held a man at gunpoint at my own home, who was trying to break in. Now what do we do? I'm also not a liberal. Also not a Democrat. I don't know what you're doing here. Like, I don't know why you talk like this. I don't know why you communicate like this. What are you doing? Progressives have got, Kamala Harris had guns. It's silly. Yeah, there's progressives. There's people here that would want to ban assault weapons. That's true. That's just a difference of opinion. And that's an opinion that some people are allowed to have, some don't. And so you vote for somebody who cares about your rights. Vote for somebody who supports your rights. But like this thing that you're doing right now, and this is what we do in this country all the time, you're just coming up with bullshit excuses to explain why you would never vote for people who make sense, right? You're not willing to vote for somebody who wants to fix our Medicare system or our health insurance system. You're not willing to vote for somebody who's going to get money out of politics. Why? Because of this bullshit of like, oh, they're going to ban my gun. Nobody ever tries to ban your guns. You know how hard it is in America to ban guns? There's so many fucking guns here that you're kind of stuck. Like you're going to have to progress. Like it's going to have to be slow. You're going to have sensible gun reform. But this is what the two-party system has done to you. This is pathetic. Nobody here today has advocated. I've never advocated for banning guns. Nobody on the show has. You're just out here with nothing to say while our president dragged us into a nonsensical war. The one of you guys that had any courage to come up and talk today immediately folded and was like, "Oh yeah, this is a dumb fucking war." And you're just in here like, "I hate the Dems." Fix your life a little bit.
As is Iran's ability to rebuild their military industries. Also, as is Iran's coordination with China, Russia, and North Korea, and Iran's ability to choke off global energy supplies.
Thank you, Melanie, for the goal.
Stockpile of highly enriched uranium, which they only built after President Trump shredded President Obama's Iran deal in 2017. Secretary Hegseth, you have been lying to the American public about this war from day one, and so has the President. You have misled the public about why we are at war. You and the President have offered ever-changing reasons for this war. You've misled the public about the progress of the war. While the military has executed this war with tactical success, the strategy has been
That's right. I'm with you, Tawakoni. Fix your own life. Stop accepting foreign money to trash your own country. Preach. Put it on a T-shirt. I don't know why the Trump administration, the Trump family is taking all this foreign money. I don't know why they're taking billions of dollars in bribes from foreign countries just to trash our own country, just to take us to war that nobody can understand. Put in this drunk here. I agree with you. I appreciate that. I love when we're on the same page.
Astounding incompetence, doing immense economic damage to America.
Mr. Chairman,
and the
Mr.
world.
Chairman, with the personal attack on the Secretary, he should have an opportunity to respond.
He'll get it.
Certainly
Thank
will.
you.
When
No, at the time you're doing it.
It's the gentleman's time. He can use it as he sees fit and add an extra 5 seconds to Mr. Garamendi's time.
Thank you. You and the President offer ever-changing reasons for the war. You have misled the public about the progress.
Here's another question for you. Why are you defending Iran so much? It's a fair enough question. And answer this honestly, Renee. We'll stop it for a second. What have I defended that Iran has done? Because I have this theory that what you're hearing is me criticizing the actions by the United States military, and you are taking that as defending Iran because you think in a duopoly, like you just live inside of a duopoly. That's how your brain works. So you're either one side or the other. Can you think of anything that Iran has done that I've defended? Binary, that's a better word for it. Thank you. I think it's a good question. But like, Renee, will you engage in good faith and say like what it is that I criticized, or justified that they did?
Progress of the war, while the military has executed this war with.
Ain't that what you're doing with this chat channel? You're complaining about things that you don't like rather than you have any proof. No. Okay, come on, be better than this, please. I swear to God, I'm trying to do this in good faith. Let's go back to what you said. You said, why am I defending Iran? I don't think I'm defending Iran. I have a real problem with religion. If you know anything about me, like I fucking hate religion. And I think that the Ayatollah is gross. I don't like the way that the Iranian government treats their own people. I don't like using religion as a weapon. I don't like the way that they have justified harming people with religion. I would say the same about any religion and any leader or any person who uses their religion to justify hurting other people. But just honestly, like, is there something I've said that Iran? I can think of one thing I've said in defending Iran, and that is that if I was the leader of Iran with my own views, because I'll never know what it's like to be a radical Islamist. But if I'm just like running Iran and I have nuclear weapons pointed at me, and I have an agreement with the United States that keeps Israel from shooting nuclear weapons at me or missiles in general, and then the United States pulls out of that agreement and I lose that defense, I'm immediately building up my military, my arsenal, my ICBMs, and I'm engaging my nuclear program because I want the threat of a nuclear weapon to be a deterrent from Israel launching those weapons at me. So yes, I do think that what Iran did in proliferating their nuclear program, I think that was sensible. I think that any other leader in the world would have done that exact same thing. It's what we would have done in America if it was reversed. I think it's what you would have done. So if you were saying like defending Iran, that's probably the one thing you could say I'm defending Iran and their Lego videos, which I think are funny. Outside of that, I'm not pro Iran.
Tactical success. The strategy has been an outstanding example of incompetence. This war of choice is a political and economic disaster at every level. Despite the president's promise to lower.
Where can you see these donations that Trump accepts? Go look at the money that has been pumped into World Liberty Financial, the $2 billion from the the Qataris. You can look at the money coming in from Justin Sun. You can look at all the transactions flowing in and out of World Liberty Financial, where like 90+% of those are through foreign transactions. They're not donations. They are purchases of World Liberty Financial, which Trump then gets a cut of.
Cost of living, gas prices are up 40%, and inflation is soaring. So much for lowering the cost of living. The president has got himself and America stuck in the quagmire of another war in the Middle East. He's desperately trying to extricate himself from his own mistakes. It is in America's and indeed the world's interest that he succeed in that.
Dolphin said, Teddy Roosevelt said in 1918, to announce that there must be no criticism of the president or that we are to stand by the president, right or wrong, is not only unpatriotic and service, but is morally treasonable to the American public. Yeah, cuckery to the president is pathetic, always. Jen, I sent that number to you. All right. To be fair, let's give you Hegseth's response. Where did it go? Oh, I scrolled way up. And this is like what's frustrating. This is kind of like the conversation that we're having right now in the chat. This is Hegseth. And this is what MAGA does. They take any criticism and they deflect that criticism and they say you only criticize because you hate Trump. And your criticism that this war is not going well it actually means you hate America and you hate the troops.
I didn't get a chance. I didn't see a question in the statement from the congressman. I hope you appreciate how reckless it is. When I said reckless, feckless, and defeatist of congressional Democrats at the beginning, that came after watching you say the same thing on CNN this morning, a quagmire. My generation served in a quagmire in Iraq and Afghanistan, years and years of nebulous missions and utopian nation building that led us
I just used to talk so weird.
To nothing. What we have right now, the way you stain the troops when you tell them 2 months in, Congressman, you should know better. Shame on you. calling this a quagmire 2 months in.
That's not disrespectful to the troops. It's disrespectful to the leadership. They follow orders. Remember, I told you to pin it. What did he start? How did he start? I'll play it again for you real quick.
Secretary and General Kane, let me begin by thanking the men and women of the United States military for their service and their bravery. I recognize that.
All right. And what did Pete Hegseth say? Because he went on to criticize Pete Hegseth, and Pete Hegseth, of course, as a terrible leader, can't take criticism and deflects the criticism of him onto his subordinates.
The way you stain the troops when you tell them 2 months in, Congressman, you should know better. Shame on you. Calling this a quagmire 2 months in. The effort, what they've undertaken, what they've succeeded, the success on the battlefield that could create strategic opportunities, the courage of a president to confront a nuclear Iran, and you call it a quagmire, handing propaganda to our enemies. Shame on you for that statement. And statements like that are reckless to our troops. Don't say I support the troops on one hand, and then a 2-month mission is a quagmire. That's a false equivalation.
Oh, hold on. What's that word?
That's a false equivalation.
It is a quagmire. It is. We're stuck. Nobody can figure out what the fuck we're doing there. Our president lies every day and says that we have full control of the Strait of Hormuz, and then like an hour later is like, unblock the Strait of Hormuz. Like, what? It is a fucking quagmire. This is an absolute disaster. And we feel for our troops. We thank them. We also feel for them. They deserve better than a dumb fuck as Secretary of Defense. They deserve better than Donald Trump. They deserve better than to have their lives put at risk for Benjamin Netanyahu. They deserve better. It's you're the problem. It's you. Get fucked, you whiny little bitch. Have you ever seen, name any other Secretary of Defense who sat in front of Congress and cried like a little bitch harder than this? Name one other Secretary of Defense who came in and took any criticism and said, oh, it's just because you hate the president. Never. Fucking ever. This bitch cries more than any person I've ever seen in my life. And I kind of cry for a living, right? Like, I get upset for a fucking living. I'm sensitive. I'm emotional. I shouldn't run the fucking Department of Defense. He's more emotional than me, and he's also a drunk. People like me and people like Pete Hegseth should be nowhere near leading the world's largest military. Keep us the fuck out of it. But can we stop pretending that Pete Hegseth isn't an emotional little bitch? Please, MAGA, can we do that? Can we go back to generals who stood in front of Congress, who sat before Congress and just answered questions and took accountability and took responsibility and said shit like the buck stops here? Could we get those people back, please? Or do we have to deal with this bitch for 4 fucking more years? You only criticize me because you hate Donald Trump. No, it's because this war doesn't make any goddamn sense. And people are dying and we're murdering people and it's costing us billions of dollars and nobody can figure out what the fuck it's about.
It's a false equivalation. Who are you cheering for here? Who are you pulling for? Our troops are doing incredible work. They've done incredible.
There it is again. You can't criticize me. You have to cheer for me. No criticism, just cheer.
Well, you suck, dude. Sorry. I criticize my sports teams when they play poorly, too. You're playing poorly. This is going bad. This is worse than we all thought it would be, which is crazy because we knew who you were when you took over as Secretary of Defense. We knew what a dipshit you were. And you're somehow worse.
Things for the entirety of this mission and achieved incredible battlefield successes. And you sit there.
Battlefield success? Is there a battlefield? I'm sorry. Was there a battlefield? I thought we didn't have boots on the ground. Where's this battlefield? I cannot name a Secretary of War that has been in as good as he is. Oh, well, you don't know what you're looking at then. He sucks. He's the best ever. Yeah, I think you might just want to fuck him, Nina. I think maybe that's what it is. He sucks, dude. Give me one thing that Pete Hegseth has done well.
And go on TV for your clickbait about quagmires. It undermines the mission. Your hatred for President Trump blinds you to the truth of the success of this mission and the historic stakes that the president is addressing, which the
So successful that they can't point to a success.
American people support. Iran's been at war with us for 47 years. You want to talk about a forever war?
Yeah.
For 2 months, this president has stared them down. He's going to get a better deal than anyone ever has and ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon. I know
Iran has never had a nuclear weapon. Do we understand how stupid this is? If they come out of it and they're like, we have an agreement that Iran will never get something that they've never had. Cool. We already had that agreement. You ripped it up. The best case scenario, Trump comes out of this with a watered down version of the agreement that Obama negotiated. That's best case scenario.
the American people support that mission despite your loose talk and words like quagmire.
Giggity. He's such a bitch. He's such a fucking bitch. It sucks. That sucks so bad. Can you imagine? I do know. I know a few people in the military. I promise you that nobody thinks he's great. Not anybody with real leadership. It's a never-ending SNL skit. Yeah, when they try and make fun of him on SNL, it doesn't work because he's more outrageous in person. All right, let's get to Representative Adam Smith then here. Good question. Can you explain to us now? You just there he said like you don't give us credit. We're winning. Cool. Tell us about all these successes, please, Mr. Hegseth. Tell us why we should be looking at what you're doing and say, oh, this is working.
Mr. Hurst, drag you into the conversation here. We have not yet received from the Pentagon the
Lisa said, do we get to see the DMs? I think we're about on the regular gift goal. Jen says it's like, and Jen said you had to go over 100. So I think it's 125 short for the DMs.
costs of the war. So just for the record, we'd like to get that as soon as possible. Certainly the munitions expended, but also underreported is we've had a fair amount of
Hegseth, according to the majority of the military, has been off the charts fabulous.
Cite a source. Cite a source for that. And I said leadership, by the way. Give me a source on the polling amongst military leadership. He's fired half the fucking... He only keeps people around who like him. That's pretty easy. How many people have quit? Find me another Secretary of Defense that had this many fucking people quit. It's easy to have good polling, which, by the way, they don't poll that. They don't poll military leadership, so you're just making that up. But even then, he fires everybody who he doesn't like.
equipment destroyed, including two C-1. Mr. Hurst, drag you into the conversation here. We have not yet received from the Pentagon the costs of the war.
Roly Poly said, I got here late, so I don't know what DMs we're talking about, but release the files. Jen's Tinder DMs.
So just for the record, we'd like to get that as soon as possible. Certainly the munitions expended, but also underreported is we've had a fair amount of equipment destroyed, including two C-130s with the rescue of our downed airmen. So do you have either A, a cost estimate coming to us anytime soon, or B, a specific supplemental request?
Thank you for that.
Don't trust Iran, but if you do move there, I don't trust America either. I'm kind of in a shitty situation where the country I live in lies to me every fucking day. I definitely don't want to live in Iran, but it has nothing to do with trust. It has to do with not wanting to live in a theocracy. But America, our government, I certainly also don't trust. So that kind of sucks.
Question. So approximately at this day, we're spending about $25 billion on Operation Epic Fury. Most of that.
Yeah, we get it, Nina.
That's because a lot of the officers weren't conservative Nazis like Pete Hegseth. They weren't Christian crusaders like Pete Hegseth. That's why he fired them. Yeah, we know. We agree with you. That's fucking stupid. You're firing people for their political ideology. I'm sorry, were we struggling as a military because people were liberal? They were woke and weak. When?
What was woke and weak about our military that's so strong now?
As munitions, there's part of that. It's obviously O&M and equipment replacement. We will formulate a supplemental through the White House that will come to Congress once we have a full assessment of the cost of the conflict.
For the record, this is how our military answers questions. Let's watch it one more time. Historically speaking, when members of the military come before Congress, and by the way, they're here to ask for money, they answer questions like this.
Thank you for that question. So approximately at this day, we're spending about $25 billion on Operation Epic Fury. Most of that is munitions. There's part of that is obviously O&M and equipment replacement. We will formulate a supplemental through the White House that will come to Congress once we have a full assessment of the cost of the conflict.
Sure. So you're saying the full cost at this point is $25 billion?
Yeah, that's our estimate for the cost.
Okay, interesting, because I'm glad you answered that question, because we've been asking for a hell of a long time and no one's given us the number. So if you could get those details over to us, that would be great. Mr. Secretary, you mentioned
You love to complain behind your comfortable four walls and talk bad about the country that kept your lame self. Yes, I criticize my country because I'm not a cucky little bitch, and I want our country to consistently get better. Until my dying day, I will criticize this country. I will spend zero time cheerleading. I will criticize the country until the day that I die. I will demand that our country get better every single day until the day that I die, because I'm not a bitch and I'm not a cuck. And it's pathetic that you're saying that. It's pathetic that you're frustrated that people don't just stand in line and cheerlead. Use your own brain.
the nuclear aspect of Iran and the war. And it is worth noting that every president prior to this one, including President Trump in his first term, also prevented Iran from getting a nuclear weapon without actually having to go to war in Iran. So we need to keep that in mind. But also, since the war started, Iran's nuclear arsenal has not been weakened in any way. And at the moment, in negotiations, what Iran is saying, basically,
it starts in your community.
This is my community. The difference between me and you, Sir Bernard, is that you can have a community online. We have Discord. This is my community, but I also help out in my community. Thanks for asking.
pay us to open up the strait. That's their position, which is completely untenable. I agree. It's worth noting, of course, that the strait was open before the war started. Now we're negotiating to get back to status quo. And Iran's most recent offer is to say, we'll talk about nukes later. So what is the plan to actually turn all of this lethal kinetic action into an improvement in the nuclear situation? Because we haven't gotten there yet.
All right. How do we put a plan into action? How do we improve? Good question from a member of Congress who you're asking for money from. We're going to give you money. What's your plan? What are you going to do with this money?
Play it out for us. How does that happen? How does it actually lead to that result?
Well, I would take issue with the premise of the question that nothing was done. Operation Midnight Hammer was a very effective.
Well, I didn't say nothing was done. I said in this war.
Ultimately,
this war started.
well, this is under this administration, unlike other administrations.
What's your plan?
My plan is to complain about your question.
Okay, thanks.
Which cut bad deals and pallets of cash with no ability to oversee whether
My
Iran
plan is also to complain about Joe Biden.
is actually pursuing a nuclear program.
Which is where
if we
we're
want
at.
to litigate JCPOA or the Iran deal, our view, the president's views, that was a very bad deal.
Okay.
Our plan is to keep saying that other things were bad before.
Gave them a
That's
bunch
the
of money up
past.
front.
What's the future?
To fund, you talked about negotiated deals. Allowed them to fund their proxies and spread Hamas and Hezbollah all around the region, build up nuclear capabilities.
Great. What are we going to do now?
President Trump has been clear-eyed from the
He has to finish Trump off. He just can't answer the question. What's the plan? My plan is to keep telling you how great Trump is. Okay.
killing of Qasem Soleimani, to the pulling out of the Iran deal, to Midnight Hammer, and now to this effort to recognize that you have to stare down this kind of enemy who's hell-bent on getting a nuclear weapon and get them to a point where they're at the table giving it up in a way that
So they
never have it.
So they haven't broken yet. Okay, we haven't gotten there yet. For all of the
Well, their nuclear facilities have been
Ban Ramboni for 24 hours just for being a dumb fucking misogynist. That was stupid. You got to go. My brother. Someday. That was so stupid. That was so stupid.
obliterated. Underground, they're buried, and
Whoa,
we're
whoa, whoa,
watching
whoa, whoa,
them.
whoa,
Oh, sorry. This is where it gets.
Giving it up.
This is a big mistake by Hegseth. This is going to Trump's going to be pissed at this. This could cost Hegseth his job.
In a way that
So they
ensures
haven't
never have it.
So they haven't broken yet. Okay, we haven't gotten there yet. For all of the
Well, their nuclear facilities have been obliterated. Underground, they're buried, and we're watching them 24/7. So we know where any nuclear material
reclaiming
might be.
my time for
we're
just a
watching
quick
it.
second here. We had to start this war, you just said, 60 days ago, because the nuclear weapon was an imminent threat. Now you're saying that it was completely obliterated?
They had not given up
Whoops.
their nuclear ambitions, and they had a conventional
Whoops. Imminent threat. Remember that? Remember imminent threat? That means a threat is imminent. That means that there's evidence that there's about to be something happening soon that is a direct threat. Whoops. We obliterated their nuclear capabilities. But wait, hold on. If we obliterated them, then why did we start this war 60 days ago? Oh, they still wanted a nuclear weapon. They had ambitions to get one. Now it's not an imminent threat. Republicans, not just Democrats, Republicans are waiting for a reason to pull out, to force the president to pull out of this. This is killing them. This is devastating to their poll numbers. It's devastating to their base, but they're all afraid of Donald Trump. And now they get to say, hold up, if there's no threat, there's no authorization, you can't be there. That was a fuck up. That was a big, big fuck up. That's going to lead I don't know. Has anybody's watched any news source since we started? That's going to lead every hour for the rest of the day. And that's going to piss off Donald Trump.
That it was completely obliterated?
They had not given up their nuclear ambitions, and they had a conventional shield of thousands of
So Operation Midnight Hammer accomplished
moment.
nothing of substance. It
No,
left us at exactly the same
point.
place we were before. So
Their,
much so
their
that we had to
facilities
start
were
a
bombed
war.
and obliterated. Their ambitions continued, and they're building a conventional shield.
Why is Ramboni still here? Mods, can you get rid of Ramboni, please?
Try again.
It's the North Korea strategy. You know this very well. The North Korea strategy was use conventional missiles to prevent anybody from challenging them so they could slow walk their way to a weapon. President Trump saw Iran at its weakest moment, took an action to ensure, in a way that only the United States of America could do with our Israeli partners,
And yet
to ensure
they
their
still haven't given
conventional
up their
shield was
All right.
brought
One
to
other
heel, which
question,
we've done.
if I could get to it.
It's going to be a tough one to defend. How do you have an imminent threat if you completely destroyed their nuclear capability? Ambition is not an imminent threat.
So on Ukraine, a year plus ago, your advice, the president's advice, was Ukraine had no cards to play. They should go cut the best possible deal they could.
Before we get to Ukraine, real quick, Draco's Rose said, come on, load. Every time I hear someone say whiny little bitch, I'm reminded of Bill Maher saying it is a descriptor of Trump in his first term. It's as true now as it was then. WJ, W, Jen, and W mods.
Clearly that was wrong. What did you miss? What did you miss about the conflict between Russia and Ukraine that you didn't see that Ukraine was going to be capable of doing what they've done in the last 14 months?
What we didn't miss, and we're here in this committee, is that Joe Biden, with no accountability.
What'd you miss? What we didn't miss. Jesus Christ, this guy's pathetic.
Gave hundreds of billions of dollars of our weapons to Ukraine, to an outcome that never would have happened if President Trump was president. So he pulled out you guys don't talk about that. Ultimately,
Yeah, because, bitch, you're the Secretary of Defense asking for money, and he wants to know what you've done. Why the fuck would they use this time to talk about Joe Biden?
President Trump believes there should be a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. That serves
But you
the best
didn't
interest
expect
of both
Ukraine to
parties.
be where they're at right now. I'm asking you, just from a strategic standpoint, what
I
did
think the
you miss?
Ukrainians have shown great courage, and I appreciate that Europe is now paying for any weapons that we provide.
All right, I yield back. Thank you.
Marty says, fuck Pamela Yvette. Hashtag SCSU. There we go. Jesus is dead? Damn. Again? That sucks. Sorry, Jesus. Okay, where are we at? 35. Cool. Here we go. Let's get to Representative Moulton. This is the question we want to know. If we are winning this war, can you explain how we're winning this war? And 5 minutes here. We're going to give Pete Hegseth the opportunity to explain how it is that we're winning this war.
Mr. Secretary, you and I agree that Iran is a national security threat to us and our allies. Now, earlier you...
not answering me about Obama and Hillary, you'd pick them over Trump. I worked for Mitt Romney when he ran against Obama. I voted for Gary Johnson when Hillary ran. So I didn't vote for them. Would I pick them over Trump? Yes, I would literally pick a shoe over Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a dumb fucking rapist, but a pedophile, I guess a pedophile protector. He's got an IQ of under 60. He fucks up every business he's ever started. He's fucking up this country. We're buried in debt right now. We're in a war that nobody can fucking explain. His trade war has led to more deficits. It has not returned American manufacturing. It's cost the American people hundreds of billions of dollars. Inflation is up. Unemployment is up. And he seems to be just betting on AI taking all of our jobs. I don't think you could point to an object or human being that I wouldn't vote for before Donald Trump, because first of all, he's stupid, but somehow he's more corrupt than he is stupid, which is it is worse. I don't think there is a human, animal, object in the world that wouldn't be better than Donald Trump. Literally somebody sitting there doing absolutely fucking nothing. I would sit there, I would pay for a zoo animal sitting on a live stream masturbating as president before I would choose Donald Trump. I would choose an anal polyp, but not Stephen Miller, the anal polyp, over Donald Trump. I would choose my own shit over Donald Trump. I don't know that you could possibly get a worse person to be president than Donald Trump. Does that answer your question? Did I answer that thoroughly enough for you? There we go. Tell us how you really feel. Is that you?
You called us feckless for questioning your war. Do you think Congress was smart or feckless when it failed to ask tough questions of the Bush administration and gave them a blank check for Iraq?
Well, if you're trying to compare this war to the Iraq
I'm just asking
war,
you, do you think it was
president
smart or
was the first
feckless?
one to call us
Well, actually, let me change the subject or change the question.
stupid
God
war,
damn,
and it's a
he's
false
pathetic.
comparison.
Okay, well, probably a good idea to ask tough questions. So let me just ask you a few questions. Did you advise the president that we should attack Iran?
We were, first of all, in this position in the cabinet, we never talk about what we would advise the president to do or
Well,
not.
do you think the president or you deserve more?
I've been in every meeting.
I understand that.
Why is it so hard to answer a question? Did you advise him? That's just yes or no. No, yes. I don't talk about that. That's it.
Everybody else says those
Secretary,
critical
I'm asking
decisions
the
were
questions.
made, and he got every perspective possible when it came.
I'm
to
just
making
asking what your perspective is. Are you afraid to take ownership of this? Do you think it was a good idea or not?
As I've consulted the president, do I think it's a good idea to confront a nuclear bomb
To start
in
this
the
war.
hands of the? Imagine what the world would look like.
Why does he struggle so bad to just answer the question? It's a good idea to start this war. Are you asking me if it's a good idea to confront a nuclear bomb? No. I was asking you if it was a good idea to start this war.
Like right now, if Iran had a nuclear weapon.
Okay, so let's
just imagine.
Which, by the way,
if
every
they
other,
had one,
every
which the
previous
Obama deal
administration,
was
What if instead of answering your question, I gave you a hypothetical?
going to allow them,
including the first Trump administration,
they had one.
Ban 86 Stang forever. Thanks. Get fucked, 86 Stang.
prevented them from having a nuclear weapon. So, listen, how is this war going? Do you think we're winning?
Mods, I mean that one. The 86 Stang can be gone forever. Don't be a bitch. Don't walk out of here with a slur because nobody would talk to you. Nobody engaged with me, so I'm going to drop slurs.
Militarily on the battlefield, it's been an astounding military success.
No, but are we winning the war?
Absolutely.
Okay, so do you call Iran closing
Jane, we're talking about the Iran war, not immigration. Try and keep up.
the Strait of Hormuz winning?
Well, I would say the blockade that we hold that doesn't allow anything to come in or out of Iranian ports, which
Okay,
is
so
always in our
we've blockaded
portfolio
their
to
blockade.
use.
So they blockaded us, and then we blockaded their blockade. That's like saying, tag, you're it. Or, you know, if President Madison had said, well,
It's a game of Red Rover where nobody's coming on over. They're just, Red Rover, send Iran right over. And then they just say, Red Rover, send USA right over. And then everybody just stands there. It's stupid.
the British just burned down Washington, but don't worry, we're going to burn it down as well. Chairman Kane, did the military have plans for the idea that Iran might blockade the Strait?
Sure. Thanks for the question. I'll answer it this way. You know, in this job, I have to maintain trust with a variety of constituents. To
Okay, I'm
include
just
the president.
asking if the military
Yes,
has
sir.
plans.
As always, my point in this is,
Why is it so hard to answer questions? I swear to God.
Playing the role. My point in this is
Kamala Harris would have been a million times better than Trump. This wouldn't have happened. She would not have been dragged into this dumbass war. I know she's a woman, and I know even worse for you, probably she's a black woman. But no, Kamala Harris is smart. Not my first choice. If she runs for president again, I definitely am not going to be on the Kamala train, but that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, Trump is literally the worst possible option. Every single person running on the GOP would have been a better option than Donald Trump. He was your worst possible candidate.
we always offer a full range of military options that are carefully considered with the associated risks with those options and the considerations therein.
So, Mr. Secretary, did you consider this risk?
Of course, this department has looked at all aspects of this risk. And
so then
because
why did you
this
send the
department looks,
minesweepers, the only minesweepers we had in the Gulf, to Singapore weeks before the war started?
we have lots of capabilities that you may or may not be aware of at the classified level.
Okay, and
to deal
so,
with, to deal with
by the way,
mines.
would the Trump-class battleships have helped with this?
You're talking about a prospective future battleship, which we welcome in the fleet.
Okay, so you're supportive of the battleships?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How much has Iran profited from your administration lifting the sanctions on Iran when you started this war?
I can tell you Iran is financially devastated right now.
Okay, well,
with the
they've
Treasury
earned about
and
14.
Come on, just answer one question. Why does it have to be this way? Why can't he just answer a question? He's such a bitch.
Billion
Operation Economic Fury. They're at a point where between the blockade and what we've done to them militarily, remember, they don't have a Navy. They can't contest the blockade.
Okay.
Between what we've done to them militarily and financially.
They can't contest. This is so stupid. What do you mean they can't contest the blockade? They shut the fucking strait down. What are they contesting? It's like if I locked my door and then you stood out. It's like, I'm like, you can't come in here and nobody's coming out. And then you stood out there and you're like, yeah, that's right. You're not coming out. I'm like, yeah, I said nobody was coming out. And then you're like, yeah, I got you. They shut it down already. This is so stupid.
$14 billion.
They have very few options.
How many Chinese missiles can they buy for $14 billion? Does that sound like...
All politicians waffle, even Democrats, idiot.
These aren't politicians. Pete Hegseth's not a politician. Why are you holding him to the standard of a politician? Pete Hegseth is the Secretary of Defense. I guarantee you can't find a single clip of the Secretary of Defense refusing to ask or answer questions in front of Congress when it like just simple questions and consistently blaming the last administration. In fact, I would challenge anybody to find a Secretary of Defense who, when asked a question, blamed the previous administration. I think that'll be very hard to find.
Winning?
They're not. We're ensuring, and they're not buying Chinese missiles.
Okay. You know, at the end of the day, this also has a cost to us. If let's say this war costs $100 billion, I mean, you've already said, give us more time. It's only been 2 months. It could go on for 20 years like Iraq and Afghanistan. Let's just say it costs $100 billion. What is that to the average American taxpayer? Do you have any idea?
Well, unlike foolish previous administrations, it won't go on.
No, I'm just asking.
For years and decades.
How much is it going to cost?
Unlike the previous administration.
But let's just say
Sitting in
it's
this
$100 billion.
position, it's hard to imagine how
you know
it was
that?
allowed those things to happen. You were a part of
We just want to know how much, bud. We just want to know how much.
The answer to that?
So was I, and I never.
I'm just asking if you know what your war costs the average American taxpayer.
What is the cost of Iran having a nuclear weapon that they wield?
I'm just asking if you know the cost of the average American
taxpayer. I'm
taxpayer.
asking you what the
It's about
cost would be of that.
You don't. You're asking for money. You're asking them for money. Answer the question. What are you doing? How much is this going to cost? I'd ask you how much it will cost if we don't do it. Okay. Could you just answer it, please? You're asking for money. He is here to ask for money.
So for the American taxpayers out there, my constituents...
Release the Epstein files and release Jen's dating DMs.
The constituents you wanted to represent in Minnesota. I'm just wondering if they have an extra $600 lying around to pay for your war. I think that's just a question that we ought to ask. Now, quickly, on March 13th in a press conference, you said, we will give them no quarter, no mercy. In order for no quarter or no survivors is a
Nobody's saying Hegseth is losing. I'm saying he's not answering questions. What are you watching? Do you know what this is? Nobody wins or loses here. He's in front of Congress to ask them for money. And their job is to ask him questions about how he plans on spending that money. And every time they ask him a question about how he plans on spending that money, he refuses to ask it. And then you jumped on a YouTube chat and you said, "You really think he's losing?" This is what's wrong with our country. This is the problem. You don't know what the fuck you're watching. You're just out here cheerleading Pete Hegseth. Like, I love Pete. Look at him sticking it to those Dems. This is bad for all of us. They should answer questions.
war crime under the Geneva Conventions. You understand that's murder. Do you stand by that statement?
The Department of War fights to win.
Iran will never be a nuclear power, and they never have been. Thanks, Curtis.
And we ensure that our warfighters have the rules of engagement necessary to be as effective
Okay, so
as
just to
humanly
be clear,
possible.
you
which
called
they are.
Democratic members of Congress to be tried for sedition for reminding our troops to follow the law. But when you tell them to commit a war crime, you stand by yourself.
For insinuating that the laws that we're giving them are
Gentleman's
unlawful.
time's expired. Chair, now
All right. Anybody? Any of you MAGA people? It doesn't bother any of you, honestly? It doesn't bother a single one of you that he won't answer questions? Did we forget what happened with North Korea? What did happen with North Korea? We didn't invade. What did North Korea do? If you commit a war, war crime, you belong in prison. I'm assuming you meant war crime. Yeah. All right, last one here. Khanna. Wait, is this the right one? Yeah. Last one is Khanna here. Again, we just want to know, you're here to ask Congress to give you money. You should be able to have at least a general answer of how much it costs. If you remember earlier when he asked, I forgot the guy's name. I forgot the guy's name. Anyways, when he asked the other guy about the budget, he just gave him a number. He's like, so far it's cost about $25 billion. We'll update you. That's just how you answer the question. When you're in front of Congress, they're asking you how you're going to spend money, how much money you need. Just answer the question. Not if you're Pete Hegseth. It wasn't Kane. It was the other guy. I forget his name.
You know how much it will cost Americans in terms of their increased cost in gas and food over the next year because of the Iran war?
Hurst. Thank you. Well done, Jamie.
I would simply ask you what the cost is of an Iranian nuclear bomb.
I'm going to give you that
Once again, same answer.
How much it will cost Americans in terms of their increased cost in gas and food over the next year because of the Iran war?
I would simply ask you what the cost is of an Iranian nuclear bomb.
I'm going to give you that.
Curtis, I'll give you $50 if you can tell me what the fucking strategy is. It's a winning strategy. What is it? I'm not telling.
I would simply ask you what the... you're playing gotcha questions about domestic things. I'm not...
You're saying it's a gotcha question to ask what it's going to be in terms of the increased
Why
cost
won't
of
you
gas
answer what
and
it costs to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear bomb?
I give you that.
Once again, Renee, these aren't politicians. Stop treating Pete Hegseth like a politician. He's there to answer questions. He's supposed to answer these questions.
Sir, but let me.
What would it cost? What would you pay to ensure Iran doesn't get a nuclear bomb? What would you pay?
I reclaim my time. Do you not know? You had no one do the analysis of what the increased cost of gas and food on the American people are going to be?
What is the cost of Iran holding that straight at issue with nuclear weapons?
It's $631 billion, which means it's an increase of $5,000 a year for American households. Now, let me give you this point. You're saying that your operation is preventing...
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to spend the money on? That's a gotcha question. Only if you don't know. Only if you don't know how much things are going to cost. Only if you don't have an answer. It's a gotcha because it exposes that you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Nuclear Iran. Will you acknowledge that there is an economic cost to the American people for doing what you believe is necessary to make Iran denuclear? Will you acknowledge the economic...
All right, we got about 5 more minutes. We'll play this out, and then Jen will read her DMs. 25 short of the goal Jen sent. So if anyone wants to knock that out, Jen will read her DMs, and then we'll get out of here.
Economic cost.
We have an incredible economic team that's managing this better than Yeah, but what the previous administration did to
acknowledge
our
that-
economy,
to acknowledge
what the
there's a
previous
cost.
administration
You-
did
you
with
don't even
inflation,
know what the- you know
what
what's
the previous
upsetting? I reclaim
administration
my
did with
time. You know,
COVID,
Secretary-
and you're going to
Secretary,
lecture this
I reclaim
administration
my
about the
time, sir.
economy?
You know,
The fuck? How much is it going to cost? Well, Joe Biden, Joe Biden, Joe Biden, Joe Biden. You honestly, let's look for these maggots. Honestly, you like this? You're proud of this? Renee, you're proud of this? You're proud of Pete Hegseth refusing to answer questions and playing politics? I understand politicians are politicians. I understand what you're saying. Like, they're all shitty. If they're all shitty, then join us in talking shit about them. It's a weird thing that you do. Like, you're like, oh, everybody sucks. As soon as you run out of arguments, you're like, well, everybody sucks. Okay, then join us and criticize them. Let's criticize everybody who sucks for real reasons. Let's have real conversations about why somebody sucks. In this case, Renee, can we not agree that it is pathetic that he doesn't know, he either doesn't know or won't tell us how much this is going to cost? I'd also like to ask, I'll just say, you have no idea, Renee, if they were going to get a nuclear weapon. You've chosen to believe that, but you yourself have not seen the evidence of that. I know that because they've never shown us the evidence. So that's just you believing Donald Trump. What happened to all the food he bought? It certainly didn't go to the troops. That's a good point. RTD was proud of Democrats when they did the same thing about the Russian-Ukraine war. They didn't do the same thing. They didn't do this. I'm sorry, did we bomb Russia? Did we bomb Ukraine? We started a war with Russia and Ukraine? And yes, I do support sending defensive weapons to Ukraine. I do. It's not a direct parallel here at all. But I did criticize the Democrats for funding Israel. Were you here for that? America is dying slowly. Were you here when I was criticizing Joe Biden for continuing to fund Israel for the genocide against the Palestinians? Were you here at the start of the show when I criticized Democrats for that exact thing? No. Again, you don't have points. You don't want to criticize. You just want to play whataboutism. Yes, I'm fine with the U.S. funding Ukraine. I don't think those are the same thing.
what is upsetting?
Incredible.
You didn't even do the analysis on how much it's costing the American people. It's one thing if you said, okay, it costs the American people $5,000, but we think it's worth it. That's what we've done in World War II and other wars. Here's what it costs. You got to pay for it. You don't even
Renee, you're not answering the question. Shut up.
know what the average American is paying. You don't know what we paid in terms of the missiles that hit the Iranian school. You don't know what we're paying in terms of gas. You don't know what we're paying in terms of food. Your 25 billion number is totally off. It's the incompetence. It's the incompetence.
I've said this before, but why support Ukraine? Because we have an agreement to support Ukraine, and we have an obligation to the countries who we told they didn't need to get a nuclear weapon. We told Europe, don't worry, you don't need to get nuclear weapons. We're with you. And Ukraine, who had nuclear weapons, we forced Ukraine to give their nuclear weapons back to Russia. And so Russia has all the nuclear weapons that Ukraine used to have. And what we told Ukraine is, don't worry about it. If Russia ever invades, we're on your side, so Russia won't invade. And then we said to Russia, if you ever invade, you're fucked. Like we're going to defend Ukraine. And then Russia said, well, what do we get out of this? And we're like, well, you get your nukes back. And then Russia said, okay, well, they also can't join NATO. And that was a handshake agreement, but they never joined NATO. So yes, we have an obligation to help Ukraine because of agreements that we've had in place forever that have kept Europe stable since World War II. We had World War I and World War II where Europe was completely destabilized. And we had all these alliances and all these agreements. And part of that agreement was keeping Ukraine safe from Russia. So when Russia invaded Ukraine, we sent them weapons to defend themselves. I actually probably would have been okay if we got more involved, but we didn't. I probably would have been wrong there. We didn't get more involved. But yeah, that's crazy to say that it was like it's the same thing. We bombed Iran with no evidence that they have a nuclear weapon. In fact, Pete Hegseth just said, for the record, that they didn't have a nuclear weapon and they were nowhere near getting a nuclear weapon when we bombed them. Pete Hegseth just said that. So if you think I'm wrong, you also think Pete Hegseth is wrong. All right. I think we hit it, Jen. Let's see. Yita said it goes down in the DMs. Dracos, thank you for the super chat. I think there was one more maybe that came in. Jen's. All right, Jen. Do you want to DM those to me? Oh, you sent them already. This is it that you sent me, Jen?
Yeah, the one that
Okay,
Jennifer Lawrence has one.
All right. Are you reading them or am I?
I mean, if you want, do you want to read it?
Yeah, I'll do Jen voice.
You want to do Jen voice, or you want?
I'll do Jen voice if you want. If you want me to read it, we can do this.
You want to be Jen, or you want to be both?
I'll be bro. I'll be Bohemian Rhapsody here. You be Jen. Or do you want to switch it? Do you want me to be Jen?
No, you can read bro.
All right. Okay. For anybody who missed this, this is a man on Twitter who Jen had to unmatch because he just wouldn't stop. Jen, what's going on with you? How was your weekend in Tyler? It's nice to meet you.
Tyler, just winding down, getting ready to get in bed. My weekend was good overall. How was yours? What are you up to?
It was good. Just got back from Mexico a couple days ago, and I'm also winding down for the night, getting ready to go to bed as well. That time for sure. You seem fun and nice and pretty. Ooh, triple threat. I'm just looking for people with good energy that like to get outside and have fun. Barking up the wrong door. If you want, it would be cool to continue our conversation tomorrow when you have some time. You in blank area?
Yes, I'm in blank area. Sounds good. Talk tomorrow.
All right, Jen, sounds good. Sleep good, and I'll talk to you tomorrow at some point. What's up with my favorite Tinder girl? How was your day? What's going on with you?
Your favorite, huh? How many of us have you used that on? LOL.
In all fairness, your roster's probably bigger than his.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You're the first. Oh, I know this one. Jen sends this to me all the time.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I've only met 2 girls off here in my life. The only reason I even have it is for when I'm in Mexico. It's not my vibe, honestly. What's that? Why'd you?
It's with the area where we live.
Oh, girls aren't interested, and I'm not into it there. Why? And Jesus, girls aren't interested, and I'm not into it there. Why? I'm not even paying anymore because I'm back in the area, I'm guessing. I get that you don't believe that, but I don't lie. I have absolutely no reason to, and I'm against it. I'm against lying. That's bold. It's not like your girlfriend. It's not like you're my girlfriend or would get jealous. I really would tell you the truth, but either way, haha, you're funny though. Oh no. You may have a hard time believing it, but I'm not necessarily a hot commodity on here in Cali. You, on the other hand, I can't even imagine how annoying it must be sometimes being an attract girl in here with hella desperate guys. Maybe it's not like this. I don't know, but I would imagine. Plus, it's not like that's some killer pickup line. Let's be honest. They're just my approach with every girl I talk to. Not quite. When I'm in Mexico, it's like too much to handle. When I get back, absolutely nothing. And I seem to attract the wrong girls here. It's bad. 2 major issues. No. 2 major issues. Either A, they are trans, or B, they want to get paid. First of all, if you're trans or want to get paid, good for you. Either 85% of the time, it's one of the two. I sincerely mean that. It's pretty discouraging. If you're at all interested, you should call me, and I would love to take you for coffee or dinner or drinks or go ride e-bikes downtown. I don't know. I like to be outside. I don't have any expectations whatsoever. I'm more looking for friends because my social life sucks here, and I'm tired of it. So it'd be nice to make a friend. It's even harder with dudes. You can't just be like, "What's up, bro? You look cool. Can I have your number?" I mean, I guess I could. I'm very respectful and innocent, honestly. Add me on Facebook or call me FaceTime sometime if you have any interest at all. If not, I totally get it. You don't know me, so how could I take it personal? Smiley face. It's totally up to you. I won't mention it again. And that sounds cool. let me know. But otherwise, it's cool talking to you, and I hope the best for you. Cool vibes regardless. I like your sense of humor with your one meme. I have a 9-year-old daughter. I was wondering about your life and kids, etc. But you can't talk about life, V.
I think I think that it kept going, and I didn't grab the rest of it. But from what I remember, he was like, want to talk about kids and life and blah 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 blah. So
you just need some coaching. All right, your turn.
Sorry for not responding sooner. I was totally kidding about the favorite thing. I'm very sarcastic, and sometimes it looks like I'm being serious when I'm not. I just took myself out of dating timeout not too long ago, so I'm a little rusty too. I've got a 12-year-old daughter. At nighttime, I get wrapped up into doing little odds and ends before I go to sleep. So that's why I didn't reply sooner. Let's chat here a little bit more before we exchange numbers, if that works for you. I'm just crawling into bed now. Good night. Talk tomorrow.
I like it. My daughter's 9. I get it. I got divorced 3 years ago. Still so grateful for that. Haven't dated anyone since. And yes, that sounds great. No rush whatsoever. And don't feel bad about not responding or delays. I totally get it. Yeah, but it's hard to meet people or even care to, for that matter, when you're a full-time single parent, which I have always been, but especially 100% the last 3 years. But recently, a few months ago, her mom got 50-50, which was extremely difficult and still is, but I'm trying to get out more and live my life that's not just 100% focused on everything my daughter related, you know what I mean. But all of a sudden, when she's not here, it's so weird. I still hate it, to be honest. Dating sites don't jive with me. I'm not really looking to meet someone at a bar. I mean, to be honest, I'm not looking for a relationship at all. That's not to say it won't happen and when I meet the right girl, but it's not like a priority of mine or something I'm the least bit concerned about, if that makes sense. If every dude wouldn't just assume I was gay. I would try. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that. That was such a left turn. Sorry. Every dude wouldn't just assume I was gay. I would try and meet guy friends on here too, but that's not really how it works.
So I was overstimulated. So I just said it's time to move on to unmatch.
I think there's two explanations. I think a lot of people are saying this, like, we have a lot of neurodivergent people here. This could be a touch of the tism. That's possible. Could also be a psycho. I think it's tough.
I just, I went back, I looked at his pictures, and he was not attractive enough to deal with this level of crazy. So
I kind of like him. If we're being honest, I kind of want to be his friend. Yeah, I'll FaceTime him. I'll be his bro. I won't even assume he's gay. I'll ask him if he's gay.
I mean, so but yeah, so that's some of the DMs. This was much more wordy than the guy that told me that my profile gave him an erection. So
that's just good, clean fun.
Yeah. There's no in between, profiles for erections and chapter books.
He does seem like I kind of agree with some of you guys. He does seem like a nice guy to be friends with. Like you could just sit there and he'll just talk at you for a while. If you just need to hear some words, he'll do it.
Yeah. So there, we hit the goal. So W chat for hitting the goal.
W chat, you guys are amazing. All right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow morning and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, right here wherever you watch today on YouTube or Twitch. I think Kick we might have streamed on too. Not sure. No return to TikTok is imminent. We'll keep trying on that. But thank you guys. It was always a pleasure to be here with you. I love you all, most of you very much. Thanks for old boy for coming up here. I forgot his name. Let's call him Hank. Thanks for coming up and chatting. Until I see all of you tomorrow, take care of yourselves. Go outside and touch grass. If you can't touch grass, smoke grass. If you don't smoke grass or touch grass, God bless America. And I hope you figure out something to do. Get those boots on the ground. Look in the mirror. Say something nice about yourself. Drink plenty of water. And until I see you in the morning, stay cute and cool and have a great summer.